Hello and welcome to another episode of the Vault Dwellers Podcast. I am your host, MrMac. You'll see if you're watching video viewers, I should say. We have a slight bit of a technical difficulty. It's been a few weeks since we last recorded, so now you can't see any of us, and we've reverted back to our old ways of hiding behind the Vault Dwellers desk. Hopefully we should get it sorted fairly quickly, but it shouldn't really affect the audio podcast. So go around your merry way, and the podcast is just as good as ever. Gary Moore, it's Saturday night this time. Apart from the technical difficulties.
Stupid bastard on computers. Let me tell you. I'm happy to be here, as always, with the podcast. It's always great to talk to the two guys. Down with computers. When can we start getting rid of them and just use tablets for everything?
Yep, absolutely. Obviously, we've had a couple of different setups and audio setups and podcast setups and stuff like that. So if there's different, adjustments or different quality levels or whatever it is from when we, were recording a few episodes ago, then it's just because we're trying to find our feet again as we navigate this issue, and then we don't really record that often, or don't find the time to record together often, so trying to abandon episodes would take weeks of rescheduling, so we're just going to batter in, and hopefully, and I'm pretty sure it will be just as good as ever. Wouldn't you agree, Hoodie?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, howdy, hi. I did make my laptop die, so that's really helped this whole situation.
That's really good. Aye, that's really good. I like that, Hoodie. Oh dear, very, very good. Okay, so if this is unfortunately your first episode for some reason, and you're still here, thanks to start. But we are the Vault Dwellers, three friends with a 10-year dream of podcasting, coming together and just covering a whole range of different topics. Right now we've been doing a few different episode layout, if you like, tweaks, where we bring a couple of topics to the table. In the past we've done full reviews for different things like games, films, TV series, that kind of thing. Loads of different stuff. The opportunity to do anything is on the table here at the Vault Dwellers. So I'm happy for you to join as we unlock the vaults that is our minds, and continue to do a pretty fucking bad job at it. Right. I should start the episode with a little shout out to our lawyer, Rahul Hoop. Thanks again, Rahul, our avid listener, one of our biggest fans. Legend indeed. He keeps us squeaky clean, tells us all the best loops. No, he doesn't tell us that. I should say Rahul's actually started. I think he's unwell at the minute, so get well soon, Rahul, if you're listening to this. But he has actually started streaming a lot more recently, which is pretty cool. So much so that he's actually managed to make some connections in his his kind of profession, I think, or just his friends, people that he knows in the industry and things, and they're giving him some codes and all that good stuff for different games, different indie games and stuff. So it's pretty cool to see him getting a wee nudge in the right direction, because he has played some pretty cool games over the past few years of his streaming. So yeah, it's good to see people doing well, as we we always champion that. To that effect, we'd absolutely do. To that effect, I did want to give a special shout out this week to Mr. Joe Medforce. He is undertaking a brand new adventure, a project, something that he's very much all in on, and he's doing a little reveal on the 12th of July, so just a little bit under a month from the time of recording. It's very much a secretive project that he's got at the minute, so I don't know exactly what I can and can't say. If you go into Joe Medforce's social media, you see a lot of teasers and videos and different things. Pretty much we're going to all find out on the 12th, and we'll hopefully see Joe do some pretty cool things from there. I do know that he's got some I think there was a timer. I'm sure there's a timer. If you go to joemedforce.com, there is a timer on there, and pretty much counting down to the 12th when he's going to review, and hopefully with everybody's support as well, we can rally around, share that link, and hopefully get a little bit of fundraising for Joe to carry out this venture. Pretty interesting, pretty cool, a big swing. Something Joe's done quite frequently is really go all in at it. But this time he's gone above and beyond, so we'll pretty good, pretty cool, interesting, and we'll have to wait and see what that brings. Joe, another guest that we'd like to obviously get on at some point. The list is growing for our guests, so it's something that we'll try and arrange sometime soon. Obviously we've got a few people, Ben Rahul, things like that as well for that kind of thing, so we're pretty excited for all the different possibilities.
Just think of it like a good version of Arya Stark's list.
It's a good version, absolutely a good version. So I have spoke enough, and like we always do, we're going to swing and go straight to Gary Moore for his favourite segment, a little bit of what have we been playing. So Gary, take it away.
So it's been a wee while since we've done an episode. It's been
No.
because I went on holiday and then that just absolutely threw our rota and our loop. So it was my fault. And then Hoodie's laptop died and my laptop died, and it's just been fucking what a week. Anyway, we're back. Episode 21, favourite segment. Here we go. So I was playing Jurassic Park Evolution 2. What a game, by the way. So good. I was looking for that kind of that nostalgia feeling of the old theme park games. You know, the theme park, is it Theme Hospital? That's what I was looking for. And just funnily enough, PlayStation came on. That was the free game for that month. I think it was in June. I think that was June's game. So I downloaded it, started to play it. And honestly, it's so much fun. So much fun. It's just your typical, I don't know what you like to call it, like theme park builder. So obviously it's not theme park, you're building Jurassic Park. So you have to have your dinosaurs, you need to like hatch them and grow them, and then put them in what pen they can go in. Can they go in with other dinosaurs? Try and make sure like other dinosaurs don't go with T-Rexes, because T-Rexes will eat them. Building your park so that you're getting a good population of people in, so making sure you've got the right paths, and can people actually see the dinosaurs from the paths, and it's so good. It was so much fun. I would tell anybody, especially Sean's the kind of person I'm thinking about, when I was just about to say, if anybody has that wee incline just to have a wee bit of a management sim game, and just that population kind of try to keep people happy, and you've got wee tasks to do. Honestly, this was a game that it's no happened in years for me, but I literally was like, oh, I'm going to play this for half an hour, and it was like 9 o'clock, and I was like, I'll go to my bed about 9:30, have a good night's sleep and whatever. And the next time I looked at my clock, it was 1:30 in the morning. I was like, holy shit. I was like, that felt like about an hour and like my brain's time. I was so good, and I kept playing it. I've just stopped playing it. I've played it for the last couple of weeks. I just stopped a couple of maybe 4 days ago now. And I was just like, I've had enough now. I've done a couple of the parks because it takes quite long. You do the campaign, but the campaign's like a tutorial, and then there's a world chaos mode, which is kind of like it gives you the scenario. So it's like in Jurassic Park 1, what would have happened if you actually you were the manager, so it didn't go all tits up kind of thing. And it lets you kind of take it away and build the park, and just gives you loads of different tasks. So they probably last about a good 6 to 10 hours probably to do it all. So I did 2 of them. and it was really good. I would really, really enjoy it, and I would recommend anybody just to get a bash, especially if they got it for a free game. It was such good fun, such good fun.
Now this sounds really
Go on.
fun, right?
Honestly, so
Sounds
good.
really fun. What are the free modes like? Where can you build as much as you want, as big as you want, and have as many dinosaurs as you want? Can you make scenarios in which you let all the dinosaurs loose and everybody has to run for their lives? Like, how does that work?
So a place has certain restrictions, like, so not everywhere's just like this huge open square and you have to build
Mm.
everything in it. So like the first one, so like say like the normal Jurassic Park one, you're kind of on a mountain. So you need to kind of navigate your way around like this mountain where you put your park and stuff like that. And it's quite good because um like I started it and you obviously start it and it's small, so I was putting like a pen right at the front and whatever, like a pen full of dinosaurs like right at the front and like all this different stuff, and it was all right where my helipad was. And then see when I started to expand I was like, that's just getting in the all that stuff I've put down at the start is getting in the way now. So I had to like strip it all back and then have to put it on bigger places, especially the bigger dinosaurs need bigger areas as well. So like I stupidly put a T-Rex in this wee tiny cage, and I was like, I can't probably do him. It's just going to be one dinosaur, but obviously he's much bigger. So I put him in, and he was raging. They kept you've got like rangers. They need to go in and like they just check the dinosaur's wealth and stuff, health, and stuff like that, and just make sure he's eating and whatever else. But every time they kept driving in, he kept attacking them
I like this.
because he was raging.
This is
Uh,
great.
and also, so what you're asking about, so you have to build shelters for your park population. So you have to build emergency shelters because you get storms and stuff like that, and the storms can end up like breaking down your fences, breaking your gates, taking your electricity out. I know Sean loves a good bit of electricity sim. He loves all that shit. So no one's guy. So it can do stuff. So the storm can break your park, and it's like a mad rush trying to get your rangers to like fix wherever it is and whatever else. And also the dinosaurs. I had there was a diplodocus. I think that's what they're called. The ones that like spit the tar. I had them beside raptors, and there was literally a fence separating them. And a storm came through one night and it broke my fence, but I was too busy fixing all the other bits of the park, and I didn't realise that that bit was still broke. And I was like, it said like a raptor died, and I was like, oh, I must have died. You can die old age and whatever else, so it's like constantly turning. It's no quick though. Don't think it's like they die every 2 days. It's like they have a good length in them, but that was by that time my raptors were like one of the first, so they were starting to die off by old age. But then they kept dying, and I was like, what's happening earlier? And then I noticed I was like, the fence is broken. And both of them are sitting fighting like there was like 6 raptors versus 6 Diplodocus, and they were just fighting each other, and I was like, so it's quite good. It's quite good like that. My T-Rex never got it. I was a wee bit like, oh good, but then I was like, I was a bit gutted because I like to see it chasing people. But it's quite funny in a storm. You press like your emergency shelter and it's like open every single emergency shelter, and then you just see all the other populations all running towards them. And
That's
it's like,
fantastic.
big alarms and all that. No, but it's really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and even like there's bits that you can go in a helicopter, and you can actually either you can tell them what to do in the helicopter, or you can actually go in the helicopter and you can drive it, and you can like shoot your tranquilizers or whatever it is you're going to do. Staying in the jeeps, if you're the rangers in the jeeps, you can do the exact same thing. You can go about your park, take pictures on the jeep. You're just like you're driving it, but you're also the wee guy in the back. So you can also drive into the they actually go straight into like the cages and stuff like that with the dinosaurs and look at them, examine them and stuff like that. It's really good, honestly. I just everybody just needs to get a go because I've played a few of these games that are like, oh, this is supposed to be like theme park. This brings it all back, and I've played them. And I'm like, it's just not hitting the right notes for me. But this is the one that I was like, this is it. This is the game that I'm like that took me straight back to like the theme park days and stuff like that. Even like like the stuff that the theme park used to do, you could go on your roller coaster and you could do it like the first person view. Like in this, I made you know, like the Jurassic Park has the automated line where like the cars go on. Once you build it, and you can build it in, like, I put it in like with the brachiosauruses and all that, because I thought they'll not attack the jeeps, so you actually can put it right through their entire enclosures and stuff like that to like swallow it run, and then you can click on the building and go first person view, and you go in the car all the way around. I was like, that's brilliant. This is so good. I don't know what the first one was like, but as I say, the second one was on the PlayStation Store at some point as a free game. So definitely, if you've got it, download it and give it a good shot, because it's a fun time. And the campaign's dead quick. It's maybe like 5 or 6 levels, but it really shows you how to use everything. So I would definitely do that before you go to World Chaos mode.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty
Honestly,
cool.
it's good. In my next game, I was having this feeling I wanted to play Red Dead Redemption again, and I was like, I've just played it. I just played it in December. I was like, I can't go back and play Red Dead Redemption 2 again. So I thought, you know what? I got that Grand Theft Auto 5 update. I bought it, I think, when I got my PlayStation, because it was on sale when it first came out, and it came with like the crime pack for the online and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go and jump on it. So that's what I did. So I'm playing Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm doing the story again. The PlayStation 5 version looks really, really good. I mean, it already looks good anyway, Grand Theft Auto, but see, like, the reflections are amazing on your car and stuff like that. There was I think I was Trevor, and I was Franklin, and I was walking up to my car, and I was like, what's that on my car? And it was Franklin's reflection. And I was like, oh,
Nice.
that was like his full reflection, like, in this car. I was like, I didn't even think that's what it was. And I was like, that's really awesome. And they've just changed a few things. I was kind of looking on YouTube, kind of what's the differences. It runs at 60 frames, and there's just a couple of wee bit of different things, like if your car goes on fire, there's actually smoke generating from it. It doesn't just blow up in like a puff of smoke. It literally, like, once the car's on fire, it just keeps smoke just keeps coming from it and stuff like that. And it's just got wee differences. It's nothing massive, but I have to say, looking at it, I was like, oh, that looks awesome. The clothes look much better. You know, like, I always think with Grand Theft Auto games, especially older ones. I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5's probably about 10 years old at this point. Like, I always think, like, you seen clothes and they had like names on it, but they're always like pure blocky looking and pixelated. But now they're all crisp, and like Trevor's jackets, all the buttons look individual and stuff like that. I just wanted to go back and play a Rockstar game, and this is just that
Nice.
wee bit in my mind. But there's not really much else I can say about Grand Theft Auto 5, because everybody and their granny's played it at this point. So, and a game that we've not played in a wee while, but I thought it needed a shout out, because I don't think we talked about it the last time, and I don't know if anybody will shout it out because we haven't been playing it recently. But Chivalry 2, and we've all been playing it at one point in the last last month and a half maybe. I have to say, that is a fun time as well. That was also a PlayStation Plus game, so if you've got it, download it, get a couple of pals on it, and that's a great time. Isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's one of the kind of better, especially kind of party chat kind of games, just to play. I mean, I don't really think I could play it on my own. I haven't played it on my own. I think it's just fun to go on, and even if you're not winning, you can you can have a good time. For years, really, enjoy playing that. We weren't really proficient at it with a few good games, and we were starting to get there and level up and whatever else. But there's definitely some fun to be had. A bit of a steep kind of learning curve to start with, but once you kind of can pick a few things, like I'd kind of figured that if you did like a certain move and then kind of looked at people's feet, you would get some hits because they didn't really defend themselves in that area. So once you kind of play it a wee bit, you can kind of pick up some of this stuff.
Also, it's one of those times that has great like metagame of, can we get this thing before they do, and how can we do it? Like, I believe it was Gary who was just launching people out of a catapult.
That was good.
Flinging them across the map. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's how we could get there faster than them. That's a good idea. instead of just like running straight on. Like I love games that have little games in between that almost make you feel like you're role playing, where it's like, ah man, can we figure out how to do this the stupidest way possible? So it's real fun with friends in a party.
Yeah, it definitely is. If anybody doesn't know what it is, it's like a medieval kind of base to base kind of fight. It's really good. It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. Like you get your limbs
Oh yeah.
chopped off, heads chopped off. There's literally, I think there was a trophy or something where what you get like one arm chopped off, but your guy still survives and he's trying to fight with just one hand. And I think it was like tis bit of scratch
Yeah.
was the trophy, which was quite funny. No, but honestly, it was a fun time. You've never been in a chat like that when we had Hoodie shouting. He's like, "Come on!" screaming and all that, like war, just pure war shouting. It's a good time, fun time,
Yeah.
and that's been my games.
Nice. Hoodie, what about your good self?
Listen, I've been playing this, that, and the other, but the only thing I'm going to talk about right now is a demo that I've been playing.
Oh.
And it's called Final Fantasy 16.
Oh.
God damn.
Now, for those of you who want to go in blind and you don't want to know anything about this game, I won't talk about the story. Don't worry about it. What I'm going to talk about is how fucking awesome this game is. From a single demo, I was convinced, oh, I need to play this. And that is coming from somebody who has played like an hour of Final Fantasy VII Remake and 2 hours of Final Fantasy 15. And that's the extent. If you want to count Kingdom Hearts, I love all those games, but I don't think you're going to allow me to count Kingdom Hearts as a Final Fantasy game. So, Final Fantasy 16's demo is by far the greatest demo I have ever played. It is insane what they packed into this thing. I don't even know if it is a demo at a certain point. Like, you beat the main portion of it, which is the opening act of the game. And it's roughly 2 hours long, maybe an hour and a half, if you're quicker. And then you unlock another mode, which they have like a little blurb that comes up that says, bits and pieces of this will not be in the actual game. So I went in going, oh, okay, so this is like a fun challenge mode or whatever. And I was playing this simultaneously with our friend Ben at Please Be Excited while we were in party chat. And it was that thing of we started the second half at the same time. And we're both going, what the? Oh, my. Oh, wow. Like, our minds were constantly blown playing this thing of going like I said, oh, it's a challenge mode. Oh, this is going to be fun. I could test out some of the other abilities or whatnot. And it advances you several hours into the game versus the main, like the appetizer of the demo, which is the beginning. You don't have very many powers. You're kind of just feeling things out. That's fine. So this gives you more of a taste of what you can do eventually. And oh, you're already in. You're like, oh, I love using this power. I love this power. Again, I won't even say what the abilities are because I do think this is an experience that everyone should be able to have and enjoy at their own pace, at their own time, whenever they want to. Because by the end of it, Ben and I would not stop talking about it. And him, Phil, and Matt were already totally invested with the main portion of the demo. But it's one of those things, once it has its hooks in you, you can't stop. It's like an addiction of this hype. Like, it was so cool from beginning to end, and then they just go above and beyond where there are beats that are in this demo that I think, how is this budget? How much was this game? Like, what did you put into this? Because there are sequences in the cutscenes that are so phenomenal. And I'm thinking, you put this in a demo? Like, what else is in the actual game? And there were reports even today of the game was going to be 2 discs. And I'm like, I believe it, but they managed to get it on 1 disc. And I'm like, how? I don't believe that. It's crazy. This game is insanely beautiful. It is so fun to play. The combat is fluid and tactical if you want it to be, or if you're like me, who's generally a casual, like, hack and slash player, you can just press square over and over again if you want. And you can turn the setting down to story and just play it that way, because that's usually how I do it. But I was loving the combat so much that I took the time to go, you know what? I'm going to turn this difficulty up, which I never fucking do. And I turned it up, and I was like, I like the challenge. I like using these abilities, because the abilities are so smart in, they all have cooldowns, but there are 3 sets, and you can switch between them, so the cooldowns will, regenerate by the time you've used the other ability. So you're always kind of going through and shuffling through as much as you can, and you want to pair some. Like, you could use X power and Z power, and those two will be better together. Or in other cases, if you're trying to get the offense, you can use A power and B power, and those will work. And it's one of those moments that just clicked of, whoa, I don't even think I had a tutorial really for what I'm supposed to do here, but it just felt so intuitive, where things were happening and I just knew what to do instinctually, which was a very interesting experience to have, especially for a series that I am not invested in. I'm just not a Final Fantasy person. I have seen the gameplays, I've watched some of the thingies, and I'm like, this just isn't for me. And that's despite loving Kingdom Hearts, you would think, but no. So getting into this and just feeling so immersed in that world and so, like, focused in how it works, I was like, wow, this is going to be a special game. Like, I'd be hard pressed to believe that this thing doesn't stick the landing, because, man, it was, like I said, the best demo I have ever played of, like, you didn't need to go this hard, but you did. You went so fucking hard in what you wanted to include here. And by the end of it, we're like, should we go again? And it was. We just, like, let's play the demo again, because it's just so good, and I want to play the game, and I'm so excited for it. And Ben's itching for it. Phil is. Matt, like, we're all so, like, out of nowhere, this has become the most anticipated game we have, which is crazy. It really is awesome. And like I said, if you're gonna get the game anyways, don't play the demo. Don't do that to yourself. But if you are on the fence, I implore you to play this. Just, play the opening. But if you're not convinced by that, trust me, there's a challenge mode that unlocks by the time you finish that, and that's the thing that will convince you. If it doesn't, then I don't know what to tell you. But man, whew, what a great time. But yeah, that's it for me.
Do you think it's going to be a 10 out of 10, Hoodie? Or 100,
Boy,
whatever?
Yeah, man, I'd be very shocked if it doesn't hit 9s and 10s. Like, it really does feel like this is the game. Like, before that, I don't know if I had any invested interest in the conversations people were having, so I don't know if other people knew what was coming. But once I play the demo, it is that thing that I will be very surprised if this isn't, like, either big contender for Game of the Year or Game of the Year for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It is really something fucking awesome. Yeah.
So it's on my fantasy league, so that's why I'm asking.
I think you got a great pick here. I really do.
Hopefully.
Yeah, but man, loved it. What about yourself, Mac?
To be honest, I'm glad the two of you were able to talk so much about what you've been playing, because I've not played that much whatsoever. I'm still on Jedi Survivor. I'm thinking maybe 3 hours or so away from finishing that, I think. I'm still enjoying it. I know you and Ben have had your issues or whatever, but I'm still enjoying what I've been playing.
I'm glad.
Still the same. I would say, same issues that you kind of shared with the map and whatever else. But I'm not really going to get into that. I think we touched on it last time, but I'm still having fun with it. I've just been kind of busy, and then I've took out. Obviously, I think I spoke previously about getting quite into golf, and I've been playing a lot of golf in real life, getting out into the fresh air.
What's that?
Exactly. Playing. So I was out this past Friday and through the week and the previous weekend. So it's been pretty full on time sink. So much so that I actually bought a second golf game.
I love that.
I wasn't over thrilled with the 2K23 PGA golf game. I wasn't overly fussed with that. I didn't feel like I was getting much in the way of progression with that. It was like I started and all of a sudden I was already beating, the big names, and not really feeling like I was kind of getting anywhere. I was playing rounds or whatever, and unlocking different putter heads or whatever, different heads for clubs, and it wasn't really like fully explaining like how you go about equipping different things. I think it was like costing you money to equip stuff. It was quite I don't know, just not what you would kind of usually expect to see. So what I've done is I end up buying. Plus there was a wee bit of a issue where I had bought that, or I'd been given that, I should say, as a Christmas gift. So I was kind of stuck on the PlayStation when the most of the time I was wanting to play that, I was playing on Steam Deck and kind of remote accessing the PlayStation. So if there was like a bad a drop in Wi-Fi, or drop in signal, whatever, and there's a wee bit of lag with the swinging up on the club, it would really affect my game, especially putting, where it's a wee bit more finesse. So it started to just kind of get to that point where I was like, I should really look at, if I want to play this, just owning a golf game on the actual Steam Deck instead. So I ended up getting the EA Sports, the EA's kind of version of PGA. I think it's is it EA Tour or EA PG Tour or whatever it's called, and absolutely loving it. So good. I have one issue where there was a problem with my game save and I lost some progress, but I don't mind so much because I don't know what happened or how I managed to play this good, but I was basically I'm that sad at the minute about this that I'm playing not only like one round during a competition, I'm actually playing like all 4 rounds, and so I've like playing like the same golf course like 4 times for the competitions, and once you play the first and second round, so 2 18s, 2 18-hole courses, and then if you are under, or I should say if you're over a particular score, you don't get to play the next 2 days. So I was one shot away from getting put out. I managed to get through. I think I managed to putt something, and then I think the cut got moved, and so I managed to make it through. So it was that shot wouldn't even have mattered if I got it in. If the cut hadn't been moved, I would have been kind of done. So I made it through, and then I think, I don't know how many birdies or whatever I got, but I managed to win the full tournament from that position, and I managed to qualify for the PGA, but I didn't save it properly or something. I don't know what I done. So when I put it back on, I was still on like the day, like after I made the cut, I was on that day, and I never made it to win. I just wasn't playing very well at all. So it just ended up getting to the point where I just played the rest of that tournament out, and I finished above where I needed to finish to qualify for like the next level, because they've got 3 separate levels in the campaign, where you start at like the kind of rookie tournament, and then you get up to the next round of tournaments, and if you can win so many of those, you then go up to the actual PGA. So I'm quite enjoying the natural progression of improving and picking different shots, taking different clubs, and just learning the game as I'm kind of playing it in real life as well. It's quite enjoyable, just trying different things and picking different stuff and improving them as a player, and being able to kind of look at things now on like the golf course, be like, well, I think I should try and go here, or maybe I should finish shy of the green rather than just try to be on the green and then chip on instead. Just different things that I'm kind of learning as I'm playing the game, as well as literally playing the Steam Deck version of the game. So I've really been enjoying that. I was actually playing it just before we started the call as well, started the podcast. So if I'm not watching golf at the minute, I'm playing it. So I'm pretty kind of deep in that. So anyway, I'll not go too much more because I know not that many people are interested in golf, but yeah, really enjoying it. I don't think I'm playing too much more, other than I did have one straight. I think between the last recording of this podcast, I managed to get the stream back up and running, and I did a couple hours of Bioshock, the first game, which I've never played. Now I've played the Bioshock games, so I managed to boot that up and really enjoyed it. I need to get back to that for sure. Mrs. Mac actually said to me the other night that I'm needing to get back upstairs and play some games, so I'm sure streaming will be a big part of that, because otherwise I just sit in the chair and fall asleep. So I need to.
Oh, hell yeah!
Streaming a bit of golf.
Yep, exactly. I actually don't think that's quite funny. I've never had the golf dream actually. For all the golf I'm consuming, it's not quite made its way into my dreams yet. So maybe that's the next step. But yeah, other than I mean, even if I'm sitting downstairs, sometimes it's just I'm just starting to kind of fall asleep and stuff. So I'll have to do something, and I think coming up here and having a place to sit and game would help that. Although just now with the temperatures in Scotland, this room is an absolute nightmare to sit in. So maybe we'll wait till it's a tiny wee bit cooler, because it's very uncomfortable to sit in this room just with the amount of different stuff that gets turned on between the PC and then the PlayStation and then on the monitors and stuff. It's just too hot. But anyway, that's me. I've not played. I don't think I played that much else, to be honest. Maybe here and there, but that's the gist of it. It's golf.
Golf.
That's right.
Everybody's golf.
Correct. So yep, I am good. I'm good with that actually for what we've been playing. So let's just boot straight on to the topic. So like we mentioned at the top of the show, we've started doing these different we each bring a topic kind of thing, and I've really been enjoying them. It's been a good way to kind of get in some of these smaller ideas that we've had, and fit them into like a larger episode, rather than trying to think of ways to make some of the ideas fit for a full episode, because you have to write all sorts of different questions and prompts and whatever else, just to try and make sure that we've got the full podcast covered. So I'm quite glad that we've managed to kind of pull that together. So I am going to kick off this episode's round of topics, and what I posed to the guys was what our go-to fast food place of choice would be, and what our go-to order from there would be. Now I did put some notes myself. Obviously I know, but I know what my fast food order is off by heart. But I also kind of put a couple of different wee kind of teasing points in my notes that I wanted to kind of ask the guys, just off the cuff as well, because just to try and kind of make sure we're covering a couple of different bases here with the question, rather than, because it could literally take 5 minutes, because I'm sure everybody knows what the go-to order is. But I just wanted to yeah, absolutely, don't we just so I'm going to kick off just what I was kind of wanting to ask first with the guys before we get into the meat and bones of the whole kind of question. I just wanted to actually ask, because because it's always kind of interested me what the especially in the UK, what our kind of experience with fast food was like, you know, when we were younger. And I probably should have prompted them before I started, because I'm not sure if anybody could just pluck thoughts out of fresh air. But I actually thought, obviously wanted to kind of pick Gary's brain as well, but I thought it'd be interesting just to kind of find out what Hoodie's take on it was, obviously being for US of A, and we've pretty much, you know, America's kind of fast food culture is fastly, you know, came over here, especially in the last, I don't know, 10 to 15 years. We've maybe less, but you know, 10 at least. You know, these different kind of places that we never had before, as well. You know, Taco Bell with that kind of thing, Five Guys. We never had that kind of thing over here. So these places have quickly come over here with the uprising of American TV, I'd probably say, more than anything else. And then obviously social media plays a massive part in all these different kind of things. So Gary, if you don't mind me jumping to you first in terms of just for a UK perspective with, you know, fast food when you were younger, is it something that you kind of had quite frequently, or you know, I know that we were kind of limited.
I think it was kind of like once every 2 weeks, maybe. And it would always just kind of be either McDonald's or a Chinese for us. That was always my mum and dad's go-to. That was just always a staple. McDonald's was just, as a child, you know what I mean? Who doesn't love McDonald's? Still love McDonald's.
I know.
But it's just an absolute staple. There was one close to us, so it was always just close enough. It could always kind of go, and it was always cheap and all at McDonald's. I was the two that kind of always sprung to mind. I don't really know any other one. I don't really think we had anything else. My mum and dad aren't big for like Indians and curries and stuff like that. Neither am I, actually. So we never really ventured really into Indians and stuff like that. It's just mostly Chinese.
It's funny, like, is the kind of rise of like KFC and that over here. We never really bothered with that, man. You know, Uncle were always a bit more kind of bigger fans of that, and me and my dad used to always have a Burger King if we went into the town. But other than that, it was pretty much McDonald's. But we were it was you know, really really rare that we would go. It'd be like if we were on the way back for somewhere or something, then you would maybe get a wee Happy Meal or whatever. But it wasn't something that we would have with, you know, any great occurrence. You know, it was just something that would happen. It was pretty rare, if I'm honest with you. Hoodie, Mr. America, what's your kind of early kind of experiences with fast food?
And does it have sweet potato in it?
Yeah, absolutely. There is actually a place that has sweet potato fries.
Nice.
Yeah, so like you said, America, pretty big on fast food. We like to make sure that we have every kind of snack, every kind of food, every kind of something to make us all a little bit, you know, huskier. So, as a kid, I was actually like really thin, and then as times went on and things got more expensive, the cheaper alternative was always fast food, right? It was quick, easy, cheap, affordable for people on a budget. And I think McDonald's is the go-to for that. They had the dollar menu forever when I was a kid. They call it the value menu now, which really isn't a value. But the dollar menu as a kid was like the go-to, you know, at least every other day. Like, we'd go for breakfast was the big thing. You get there before 10 a.m. and you're getting egg, cheese, bacon, biscuits and enjoying all that. Or I'd go and get a Big Mac and get 10 chicken nuggets, whatever have you. The Happy Meal was always a great thing because the toys in it were amazing when I was a kid. So like fast food has lived and breathed in my bloodstream forever, which is why I have high blood pressure. So, it's it's real great. Taco Bell, all of that jazz. Yeah,
See, before you move on, can I just jump on that pound menu thing? So that came to us later, obviously, McDonald's. So we had the same thing, which is a pound menu. And I always remember a McDonald's opened up round the corner for me. It never lasted long, actually, that McDonald's. Probably the most mankiest McDonald's ever, but anyway. So it opened, and my mum was like, "Aye, right, here you go." Me and my pal used to live beside each other, and he got money for his mum, I got money for my mum. My mum was like, "Here's a tenner." She's like, "Just go round." And so I got £10, and I walked round to McDonald's, and I came back. And I was like, "Right, mum, here's your change." I gave her £2 change. She's like, "You spent £8," and it was all in the pound menu. I must have got about 3 fries and like 4 burgers or something like that, and a drink.
I love that.
This is great.
Man.
Where was that McDonald's?
London House.
At the tunnel?
I was right at where the Lidl is and stuff
Oh,
like that.
okay. Sorry, Hoodie, I was just trying to... I was trying to envisage where that was.
No, yeah.
I was sticking a wee bit of nostalgia there, actually. I remember that.
If we could get either of our laptops to work, we could bring up the Google Maps so we can like just zoom in so we get the visual representation. Yeah, but like that was it, right? As a kid, I'd go, "Oh, get something for yourself," and McDonald's was a walk away, right? And so just walk down there and go get like 100 different things. As a kid, I'm not realizing what that's going to do to my arteries, when I turn 20, but it is this magical thing for, I think, most Americans. Fast food is like glorified, right? It is cool, it's snappy, it's quick, it's always good. Like the way people talk about Taco Bell here is like it's a rock star, right? Like everybody knows that Taco Bell's food tastes so cheap because it is cheap, but it is like mythologized at this point. And as a kid, thinking, "Oh man, I could go get a Happy Meal that has a Tamagotchi in it." Like I remember those were the huge thing that were in Happy Meals when I was a kid. Or they had full-on like Woody dolls at Burger King for their like whatever their equivalent of a Happy Meal was. And it was crazy to think about that as an aspect. And seeing now, I don't think Happy Meals are nearly as fucking cool as they were when I was a kid. But like that was a huge part of it, right? Like some of my favorite toys were just like straight up from Happy Meals, from Burger King or McDonald's, and they were awesome. I think that was a magical experience going in there. Our McDonald's at least have like play pens, and it was almost like little mini theme parks while we're having lunch. So yeah, like fast food has been a big part of my life, and it was always a good part, and it still is. Like I eat fast food again still almost every day, and yeah, I know it could kill me, but what the fuck do I care? I'm having fun, so I love fast food places, man. Good.
I love it. Love that. Unabashed, unapologetic. I am fucking going to get exactly what I want when I want. Go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. Yeah, that's really fucking good. So what I'll do, we'll just go into the. I want to ask 2 questions. What our go-to order was, and if the answer for the place, because you mentioned obviously the synergy between fast food and McDonald's is just. I mean, that's naturally where all 3 of us are, particularly the both of you kind of went and spoke the most of is McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
So if the go-to place is the McDonald's, I want to also know the McDonald's order. So I'll kick off with my kind of go-to place. I've listed. I'm kind of cheating a wee bit because go-to. I don't go here as much as I would like, but only because I don't have one near me, and I also have a missus that doesn't like it. So if I can just take all those different wee things, all those asterisks out of the equation, my go-to place would have to. I would pick, if I could pick, I would go to Five Guys any day of the week. Hoodie, I don't think you enjoy Five Guys, but we don't get as many different kind of options as you guys. So maybe we have a lower bar. But I really fucking enjoy going to Five Guys and getting the kind of cheeseburger, the Cajun fries, and then on the cheeseburger I love throwing on those onions and some jalapenos just to keep my gut in check or clear. I don't know, one of the two. And then I kind of chase everything up with a salted caramel milkshake, just to really pile on the pressure to the heart. So that's my kind of go-to for my fast food order. If I was only allowed one more, that would be my kind of go-to meal. So I've deviated for the McDonald's kind of right away, hence the reason why I wrote my McDonald's order underneath. But I just wanted to kind of see what you guys kind of thought. I'll start with you, Gary, if you don't mind, if you've got your go-to order.
So if it was McDonald's, it would probably be a Big Mac and fries. Or what I've started doing, I sometimes get a double cheeseburger with some nuggies on the side, sweet nuggies. That's
actually what my McDonald's order is a double cheeseburger, sometimes a double quarter pounder, just if I'm really feeling and we split a nug box, get some fries and some Fanta.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you need to try a triple cheeseburger one day. I seen it in the menu and I was like, that's not a fucking real thing. I was like, do you know what, I'm fucking ordering it. I ordered it and I was like, this is going to be disgusting, it's going to be too much meat. And I ate it and I was like, that was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
I'll try it. I'll need to try it. Jason the work,
honestly,
that's what he orders.
Triple cheeseburger.
He's like stick thin, man, and he orders 2 of these triple cheeseburgers, I think it is anyway, and then he has a chocolate milkshake. He's got the best life. He's some man. Is that your go-to, or is that just McDonald's? Do you have
so that and probably Chinese is probably my other one. One that was my go-to, but I've stopped going because I just felt like they were always too greasy. And one that we did have to shout out for being in the UK is Greg's. Greg's is like a bakery sort of. If you don't really know what it is, it's kind of like a bakery. Does cakes and stuff like that, but also has a savoury section. So it's like they're quite famous for like sausage rolls. If you don't know what a sausage roll is, you're just going to look it up. It's like sausage wrapped in a pastry. They have stuff called like steak bakes, which is like, it's basically like a gravy pie but in a pastry. It's lovely. But that was my go-to for ages, and I don't know if I sickened myself a wee bit.
I think it's very easy to sicken yourself with Greg's, because it's so rich. I actually had one today. I had a steak bake and a sausage, bean and cheese melt. It was so fucking good. But that's what I ate at fucking 10 in the morning. There's chunks of steak and I'm wrapped in fucking this pastry. It's delicious though. I'm slavering the new thinking about the gravy just dripping down my chin. So I'm with you there. I'm with you there with the Greg's.
Yeah, have you ever tried a steak bake on a roll, by the way?
No. I've had a roll in like a Scotch pie, which is like a mince meat, like a pie, if you like a small one that would fit on like a almost like a biscuit for you guys, but not quite that consistency.
Honestly, steak bake a roll is fucking phenomenal. It's actually so good that it's like, this is so good that I know that I can't have this often. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can literally feel me. You can feel the grease separating and making its way like a direct charge towards the fucking articles.
I've ate this in 39 minutes of my life has been took away.
Yeah. You've still got another one to eat. I should stress before we get into Gary's actual like what the order is of whatever your go-to place is, if you've got a one like champion of champions. But you mentioned Chinese. I should highlight to any American or foreign listeners, it's not Chinese the way that you guys would think of it as.
No way.
It's just like greasy fried rice chicken and like a sauce that I don't know how to really describe it. We call it curry sauce, but it's not probably what you think it is. It's like fucking a luminous orange and it would dye anything. I don't imagine what it does to our insides, but it's a nice spicy sauce kind of thing.
Sorry, the iron brew dilutes it all.
Aye, it's if they give you this sauce, it's really hot in the tub, but if you leave that tub out and come back to it in like an hour's time, you could slice the sauce with a fork and a knife. you could cut the sauce up. It's that thick. So it's really bad, but it's fucking really good. So anyway, I should stress this just in case anybody, because we've had this conversation before. I don't remember his name now. It was one of the Twitch viewers, one of the kind of funny community kind of people. We had a conversation with him. No, it's just one that was here and there from America. I can't remember his name. Maybe Hoodie, was it? And I don't know. No, I don't remember his name now. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I just can't quite get to it. Anyway, so he came in and we were talking about kind of Chinese, and he's like, no, definitely not Jabba, no. So he was talking, and he's like, oh, I love that, rice and pineapple and something else. And I'm like, man, the only time you get pineapple is you put it in with bits of fried chicken and like a sweet and sour sauce. Like you don't get this nice kind of Chinese. It's not what you think. So anyway, Gary, sorry. Do you have like a kind of the king champion of champions?
So I don't know if this is a Scottish thing, probably, because it's like deep fried. But we have things called salt and chili chips. But in Glasgow, we deep fry them. Like, they get like triple deep fried, and these chips are the absolute magic melting in your mouth. Like, oh, they're so good. I'll need to put a picture up whenever I get them the next time. But they're just amazing chips. And also chicken fried rice is my usual go-to.
That's your go-to.
That's usually my go-to for a Chinese.
So that's like it's like a kind of like chicken, like shredded chicken. It's like kind of what's that kind of gravy kind of sauce in it, and it's like a kind of soy sauce kind of sauce type thing, and then in with the rice.
So sometimes you get spring onion on it. Sometimes wee bits of ham, or sometimes green peas. Sometimes. Depends what Chinese you go to.
Aye, there's different expectations, but generally it comes in a tub that's far too big for one human's consumption. But
it's like a brick.
Aye, it is like a brick. You could probably build a house out of it, to be honest, if you left it long enough. Anyway, we're not painting it in a good light, but we have elevated fast food, but it's good to get these warnings out there as well. Not really for human consumption, but it's fucking delicious. Should be the warning, the tagline. Yep. Absolutely. Right, okay. Hoodie, what about your good self? Do you have a kind of go-to order, and if it's not McDonald's, what's your order for there?
So my go-to is McDonald's. We all know this, right? Everybody's got McDonald's as their go-to. But as a fast food aficionado, I like to go around to every single fast food place I can try. Right? I've been to the In-N-Outs. I've been to the Shake Shacks. I've been to the what's the one you like? Five Guys. Five Guys. I've been around. You know what? Five Guys is the one that has sweet potato fries, by the way.
Nice. We don't have that here.
I believe. Unless I'm losing my mind.
It probably is, purely because like I know that even our KFC doesn't have like certain things that you guys have. Like I can't remember the specific item. I think you just have like potato wedges. Do you not? You be able to get like potato wedges at KFC. Like we can't
Tater
get
tots
that.
As well.
Just as for instance, we don't really get that. We don't actually have tater tots at all.
What?
I think
I'm so sorry.
Asda or something like that used to sell them at one point, but no, I've not seen them in ages.
Aren't they just like potato croquettes though?
But I think they're not just like the wee squares. It's like wee square potato kind of things, aren't they? Is that over there?
They're like three-dimensional like tubes that are
yeah, wee cubes.
They're like the size of a cork from like a wine bottle.
And then are they breaded? No.
No, they're like they're deep fried.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
kind of like a hash brown, but like if they were in the shape of a cork.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Is that making any sense? I think so.
That is what a shop used to sell them here. They don't do them anymore, but they did. It was something very very similar. If it as they didn't call them tater tots, but that way.
Anyway, I've
They're so
derailed you,
good.
Hoodie.
Disneyland has the best. Disneyland has the best tater tots, man. I don't know how to explain what they do there, but it's some kind of Mickey magic. Yeah. So, anyways, I've tried all the fast food places, right? And I think the go-to besides McDonald's that I keep coming around is Wendy's, which I don't know if that's a huge thing outside of America, but for us, Wendy's is like they have it up at the A tiers, S tiers a lot of the time on the list, and something about their burgers is like, I know they tell, oh, our burgers are fresh, and I actually believe them because their burgers just taste so much better than everyone else. Like, I think why I keep going back to McDonald's is that nostalgic taste. Like, I understand it because I've had it my entire life, but then when I have a Wendy's, I'm like, whoa, this is an actual burger. Okay. Like, unless you're going to a gourmet shop, Wendy's is that place where you can get a Baconator and bite into that, and it's juicy and it's like thick and it looks like the pictures they show most of the time. It's so like fresh and it's got this patty that's a square, which like fucks with my head, but I am also like, well, maybe that's what's making this thing taste so real. But yeah, I'll go there. I'll get a Baconator, and then I'll get Baconator fries, which are French fries with cheese, melted cheese, shredded cheese, and bacon bits on top. And man, it's amazing. It's so good. All of that, like, yeah, sure. By the end of it, I'm in the ER, but that price is worth it. And if we had free healthcare, let me tell you what, I'd be in the ER every single day. But we don't, so I get Wendy's once in a while, and they're always great. And they have Frosties, which are awesome. Only in recent years, they've been doing this thing, like, in December, you could buy a key tag, and it's like a little Frosty that you just like, connect to your keys, and every time you go, you show them it, and they'll give you a free Frosty. I'm like, oh, wow. I buy that every December.
Sorry to hang on, it's a Frosty. What is a Frosty?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So Frosty's like a soft serve ice cream. So they have chocolate, vanilla, and they've recently introduced strawberry for summer. Okay. And you just go there, and God, it's so good. It just like melts in your mouth. It's delicious. It's this kind of like less processed ice cream taste from the others. Because if I'm not going for a hamburger place, I'll go for a Popeyes. And Popeyes, man, whew, they're something else. They introduced that chicken sandwich a couple years back or a few years back, and that destroyed the industry forever. Like, we have chicken sandwiches everywhere now because of Popeyes. And so much so, they were selling out. I waited in a 2-hour-long line to get one of those sandwiches. Wow. And it was worth it. They're so good. Like, now they're readily available and you can get them, but wow. Popeyes is another one that's like, they're so expensive, but when you get their chicken, it's just like an orgasmic feeling eating their food. Some restaurants that... Oh,
we don't. We don't have that like Popeyes or anything like that, obviously. But we don't even have like so Wendy's at all. But it does make me remember back in the day. I don't know if you remember, Gary. Before like say McDonald's and that really came out. We had that restaurant chain, Wimpy.
Yeah.
They were
like based on the Popeyes character.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
That's exactly what it was.
Great.
I think it was actually because I was looking it up as you were talking, because I was like, there was a fucking. I'm sure there used to be a Wendy's somewhere, and there's not one anymore. But it wasn't. It was. I remembered it was W was the thingy, but it was Wimpy. There was one in the Fort, I think, or was it Fort? The Forge. I think it was in the Forge, the Forge Market over here, and I'm sure I remember that being there, but they don't really exist in the UK at all, or in popular places. I think there's maybe one or two in some smaller towns and stuff, but it did originate in America, and they do mention something to do with Popeye. As you were talking, that's what that caught my eye a wee bit, because I thought that they might be related in some way. But aye, that was where it came from.
That's fantastic, because as a kid, you know what always bummed me out was the fact that learning Popeyes isn't named after Popeye. And I was like, what a missed opportunity. You could have had like spinach plates and done like Popeye toys and had a whole theming there. That would have been great. So for you to bring up that there was a Wimpy hamburger place and like, you know, Wimpy as a character constantly eating hamburgers, what a genius idea.
That was
like
good.
Make an actual shop based around that. That's fantastic. It's like a Bubba Gump shrimp based on like what Forrest Gump. People should do more tie-ins to like franchisee characters.
So Sean, and just for our knowledge, I'm just looking up here. Supposedly there's going to be a Popeyes in Glasgow. They confirmed this. They confirmed this this year. So Wendy's, we've got no such luck.
No, we'll have to
Popeyes,
go and
man.
review
You
at
guys get ready.
Popeyes, Gary.
Oh
So
yeah.
can hunt it down, do a review. I've still not ate Taco Bell because as much as Hoodie says it's like because it's cheap, that's the whole rockstar aesthetic to it. I've seen so many memes of this is Taco Bell's beef that I can't bring myself to eat Taco Bell's beef. So that's you can fucking keep your Taco Bell, to be honest.
Whatever your memes are, they're probably correct.
Yep.
In my opinion.
Yep, fucking keep it. Anyway,
Taco
sorry.
Bell's also just a great one.
We keep I keep interrupting you, mate. So I'll let you finish this time, I'm sure.
Oh no, that wraps it up, because like
That's you.
Popeyes is one similar to my order of anything at McDonald's. It'll just be random, whatever I'm feeling that day. It's not like
really?
a go-to. So Wendy's is the only one that is like very much when I go to Wendy's, I know what I want. Where McDonald's more recently, they've introduced something called the Daily Double, and it's the best burger they have ever made. Like legitimately 29 years on this earth, that is the best thing McDonald's has ever made. I love it so much, so I'll go for that. But like, again, any given day I could be like, well, I do want a milkshake and nuggets, or like, I'm feeling a Big Mac right now, and like 2 large fries. It isn't. It's harder to nail down what I'm gonna feel for McDonald's, because I just know I love so much there. But yeah, Popeyes is in that similar vein of, do I want a chicken sandwich or do I want a box of chicken? They have. I'm allergic to shrimp, but I'll still eat shrimp.
Oh.
And just test the waters. Like one day it's gonna kill me, but you know, what can I do about it? And nothing. And if you say stop eating shrimp, that's not realistic. So I'll just go and try their like shrimp out, and even that's incredible. I'm like, man, Popeyes that's great.
See, just talk about differences in McDonald's as well. Have you ever seen like the videos where they do like UK sizes of McDonald's stuff to like the American size of stuff? It's so funny. It's so funny.
Yeah,
it's like America is cups are like 2 liters of like juice and stuff like that.
Dude,
The
you could
biggest
get
is like 500 mils.
Oh yeah, you could get a large soda for $1. You can get 80 nuggets for like $40. It's crazy. It's like crazy.
Isn't it? It's crazy.
Yeah, man.
So we it's usually near Christmas time. Our McDonald's go like, oh, guess what's back? It's the Grand Big Mac, and all it is the Big Mac for America, and they bring it back for like a month and a half.
Oh no,
here,
man.
and it's just this gigantic Big Mac that's even bigger, just in circumference.
Oh man, I love this.
But we get that. We only get that for a month and a half, and do you know what usually sells it? which is funny
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
And then it goes away again. We don't get it for another year.
That's like our McRib. That's what's happening there. Is you get our Big Mac. Because we have just endless amounts of portions. You're right. It makes sense to, instead of creating something there, just like, well, let's just get the American size. Let's get that.
Aye, it already exists. Let's do
Yeah.
that. See the rib thing? Did we not have that at some point?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it was years ago though.
Probably
Years
don't.
and years ago.
Probably don't sell it out here for whatever minimum fucking meat quantities or something.
I don't know if the McRib is made out of meat. I wonder.
Aye, probably the exact
yeah.
reason why. I was like, do you know what? No.
Yeah. The other thing that they introduced here recently is the double patty fillet of fish, which is like, oh man,
Who's eating that,
this
man?
is great.
Who's eating the
Me.
fucking fish?
I have never heard anybody in my entire life got fish out of McDonald's. Like,
Do
never.
you eat
I've
that,
I'm
Hoodie?
never
gonna
heard
love it,
once.
dude.
Oh no.
It's so good. Oh
No.
yeah, man.
I don't.
Oh yeah.
I don't eat enough McDonald's to be able to like try it one time. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I
Yeah.
don't.
Fair, yeah.
I just couldn't. I couldn't. Like, I know that nothing's like really fresh, but I just couldn't imagine that. Like, nobody's making these. You probably need to like go in the car park and wait for like 20 minutes for them to go and find the fillet of fish in the UK. Because they're like, I'm sure
They
if
go
you
out,
ordered
fresh
it,
catch it.
I'm sure if I ordered it, it'd be like, sorry, what was that? Like, are you sure? Like, because I don't see, I've never heard of anybody eating it. I've never seen anybody. Like, it's just not the done thing. I think I
No.
would get disowned if I was to try and open that up in the same car as Jillian. It just wouldn't work.
That would be so funny.
would be funny.
I'd pay you to see that.
That's right. If I come home with just like two like double fillet of fishes.
Oh man.
So that's your Hoodie then, that you've kind of covered your bases there, haven't you?
Yeah. Because I mean, otherwise it's like local stops, which I don't think would resonate, and they have a peanut butter burger, which is great. But yeah, who needs to talk about that?
A peanut butter
No,
burger?
please tell me
What?
about that
Yeah.
first. That should please tell me about that.
So there's some gourmet hamburger places around here, and they're like more native to the West Coast than anything. And there's a peanut butter burger, which is a cheeseburger with bacon, all the fixings, and then a peanut butter sauce, which you get an extra side of to then pour on top of that. And it is something that in my head was going to be the worst thing I've ever eaten, and it's actually probably the best burger I've ever had. Of
Wow.
like, whoa, this thing's insane. You could also get a jelly sauce for your French fries, which again is incredible. I don't know how to explain it, but it is genius. It's a masterpiece.
What does the jelly taste like? Has it got a taste?
Yeah, so it's kind of like I think it's like a raspberry or blueberry, and then it has kind of a spice to it, similar to like we don't have TGI Fridays, but we have frozen food sections of TGI Fridays, and you could get their jalapeno poppers, and in that it comes with like a jelly sauce, and it's similar to that, which doesn't help much to explain, but it's this kind of oh man, I was gonna say sweet and sour chicken sauce, but the way you're describing what Chinese food is like for you is not remotely the same thing.
Sweet and
So-
sour might be the same. It's I know it's kind of like a sweety kind of sauce, a sweet and
Yes.
sauce.
I'd imagine it'd be
So
maybe
imagine
like a
that,
kind of
but more
chili
fruity.
jam kind of thing, Gary.
Yeah. I would say like a chili jam.
How funny is it you don't have TGI Fridays, where TGI Fridays here is just like
I don't think
they
he's
just
scored
want to
it.
be an American, or is it just maybe an East Coast thing?
Is it that a New Yorker thing, Hoodie?
It's like I know there's one in California and there's one in Vegas that we tried to go to, but they're not like prevalent anywhere really from my memory. I don't even see commercials for them anymore. Like Chili's is another one that is in the same vein of a TGI Fridays, which I'm like, are those real? Are these real restaurants? So I don't know how to give you a good answer to that because they never feel like they're real restaurants.
To be fair,
Applebee's is.
You're not missing it.
Applebee's is everywhere. I'm not missing anything. I imagine it's like a worse version of Applebee's, yeah.
I've been at Applebee's. I've been in Applebee's in Athens before. They're very similar. Apart from TGI Fridays here, it's like the decorations are literally like stuff for like America. So it's like a taxi's door, like one of the kind of yellow New York taxis. So it'll be like that on the wall with like skateboards and like just all this American shit. Oh well, whatever it was.
Do you know what, it's funny, so we've got 87 franchises of TGIs in the United Kingdom, and then other than that, nobody's really got that kind of number until you get to America. Everybody's, I don't know, between 10 and 20. America has 292.
Oh man.
So I don't know where they are.
Yeah, they must be like Midwest or East. Like they sound like a Midwest kind of thing. Like that's where people would go to a TGI Fridays. The other thing is like we're thinking, oh, they're in America. You have a lot of them, so maybe the TGI stands for they're goddamn international.
Maybe.
Not even in America.
Could be. Oh dear.
This is a great topic.
It could very much be.
I love this topic.
It's funny because I was like, I don't know how much this is going to kind of resonate, like, because it's just one of the things, like, where I don't know, it's just unsure about how much you could kind of get out of it, to be honest with you. But I think we've done all right.
Yeah, I think so too.
Exploring the fast food market. I'm on TGI's website just to round off the topic, and it definitely it doesn't show all of them on the map, so like it only really shows so many of them, and they do seem to be kind of mid east, the ones that I'm seeing, you know, just kind of
only in the Middle East,
Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, like Dallas, it seems like. Or just no, it's in Dallas, yeah. So kind of Texas, that kind of thing. So, that's the only kind of place that
So
seems.
Get your plane booked.
On it, I'm gonna review it for you guys. They're like the frozen food section of their jalapeno poppers, really good. Actually, I like them a lot.
I've literally got one about 5 minutes away from me.
I really enjoy
Let's
them.
go, dude. We do the podcast from a TGI Fridays.
Oh, so it was only showing me so many of them, but if I look at, like, for example, California, there's a good few, like, up and down, like San Jose, and then as you get further down, they are kind of kicking about. There's about 10 in LA. So
Okay.
They must be there or thereabouts, but maybe just not as prominent, because it's just kind of typical food for you guys. Anyway, that is my topic. I'm glad we got a wee bit more out of it than I was maybe anticipating. I thought that would have been a light one. Hoodie, I think you're next up, mate, with your topic of how any form of media has changed your life. If you want to kick us off in your thinkings and thoughts on bringing this one to the table.
Yeah, so much like fast food, where it has changed my life as in lessened my lifespan, I was wondering if there has ever been like a book or movie, music, any kind of media, really, that has informed you or educated you in a way that has, I would hope, bettered your life. I mean, you could go, oh, I watched a movie and it ruined my life if you wanted to, but either way of, is there something that has resonated with you so deeply that it did change the way you thought about something or acted in going forward? Like, I'll give an example of Spider-Man, right? I think as a kid, I was homeschooled. I was kind of in my own fantasy world, and I talked a lot in my head, and then picking up a Spider-Man comic and seeing him talk inside his head and be socially awkward, it was very much like oh, I'm not alone. Like, I'm not weird. And that gave me more confidence in myself to just be what I was already being and embrace that and live more of my life on that term of even Spider-Man feels like he's alone in a big world. Like, it's fine as long as you keep going and trying to figure out what works best for you, right? I mean, as I got older, more stuff about him resonated with me in a way that has helped rationalize any kind of anxiety or fears that I've had, or like I said, given me a boost in self-esteem to know that, well, this part of me is a power. It's like a superpower. I should use it. I shouldn't think of it as something that is lesser than. So I think that is the best example of a piece of media that has changed or informed my life. But I was wondering if either of you two had something similar in vein to that, like I said, from anything really.
Did you really resonate with you with Spider-Man that when you were starting to shoot white sticky stuff at yourself?
Oh,
Yeah. When it was on my wall, I was like, oh, man.
That's sticky. I'll take this one first. So I didn't go as deep as what you went. I kind of just skirted the edge. So there was kind of two things that kind of happened in tandem or close together, not in tandem but close together, and it was Lord of the Rings. Now, obviously, Lord of the Rings came out like years like apart and stuff like that, but that was truly like the first film that I watched, and I was like, this has changed like my thoughts and my processes and who I actually think I am. Like, I was like, I actually quite like what I thought was geeky stuff. I was like, I actually quite like this. Quite into this. I'm quite into like there was maybe well, I don't. There's no dragons in it, but it's like swords and wizards and stuff. And I'm like, I didn't realise I was into that kind of stuff. And it was a big shock. You know, I'm not much a reader. I'm still not much a reader. I see if I read a book, I read a book and I just get pure addicted to it, and I just let you read it until I'm finished. But I don't like doing it because it's a pure time sink. But Lord of the Rings, the first and the second one, I read, or my mum read as well, way me, because they're quite hard books to read actually when you're younger, especially when I was that age. So Lord of the Rings was definitely one when I started to open my mind, and I was like, oh, I'm actually like more like this geeky stuff than I even thought I did. Or I never thought I did at all. But also then with Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, that's when it really like really cemented it. I was like, oh, I'm a bit of a geek. And that's when it excuse me, and that's when I actually opened my mind, and I was kind of like, do you know what, I'm just going to embrace this. So I did embrace it, and then I started like going through everything else that geekdom can imagine. You know, I was starting to go and buy comic books and similar to yourself, like I was kind of going down that route, and that's when I ended up start reading Batman comics and stuff like that. So I have to say, Lord of the Rings and Elder Scrolls 4 were the two things that just totally opened me up to the world kingdom of geekdom, and I just grasped it with both hands, and I'm where I'm now. I'm a huge, massive geek. Um, I like what I like, and that's just what it is. And also, I know this is going to be like a shock factor to everybody because they're probably, no, I wouldn't say they're the worst films, but growing up with Star Wars Episode 1 to 3, I know growing up with it's I think completely different to what older people think of Star Wars. You know, you get like your older fans that are like, oh, the films are shit, but for me, growing up as a child and watching them, I loved the films as well. Um, and that just has contributed into my love for Star Wars ever since. I love all the characters, and every time something comes out, I'm dying to watch it. I've not watched the new season of this Mandalorian actually. I need to get to it. I've just been watching too much other stuff to do. I want to get its time and place. So I just love Star Wars. I've even got Star Wars tattoos and stuff like that. That again is just another form of this geekdom that I just love it in my life. I just love this. I just love worlds that you can just get engrossed in, especially with like Star Wars, The Lord of the Rings. So much lore to all these different things, so much content, so much in books and comics and different types of media. There's just so much lore to all this that it's just like worlds that don't exist, but people just act like they do, and
I mean, I think that's fantastic.
sorry, dude, my laptop I'm using just decided that it's saying that my Discord isn't working. So that's why I
Alright.
paused there. I didn't realise you could still hear me.
Aye, we could.
That's all good.
But no, that's where I kinda took it. For me.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that because I do think that's a big part of what does media do for you. I think it also lets you escape in so many ways and keeps, especially comics for me at least, where getting like immersed in those worlds and seeing that art pop at me and being like, oh wow, this is possible, that's amazing, really keeps the inspiration alive in the same way that I think a Star Wars does for so many like yourself. Of, man, I like that spark that happens every time, a Spider-Man movie comes on, or the spark that comes on for somebody who loves Star Wars so much is, I think, vital to making sure that you don't lose that part of ourselves that a lot of us do when we turn into adults and we kind of walk away from anything. And that's what makes nerdom so fucking awesome, is keeping that childlike wonder or happiness alive a lot of the time. So I think it's awesome to love Star Wars the way you do. Like, it is so much a part of your life, and it is important to have that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's funny to think, like, see, back in that day, like even back in the early days when I started to get into kind of all this kind of stuff, I was like, you were still hiding it, and it wasn't like cool to be geeky. But nowadays, it's such an open thing now. Like, it's just like people love Marvel, people love Spider-Man, people love Star Wars. It's everywhere. Every shop you go into, there's always T-shirts and whatever else, all this stuff, and I love it. That's the way that the world's turned out now, because people can just rejoice and just be actually happy in the stuff that they like.
Yeah, I like, that's such a great thing for so many people, but also all of the kids like myself, and what you're saying of like, I better just not mention that because I'll be picked on for this or that or the other, or my love of Funkos or my love of toys, right? That wasn't a cool thing to have a collection about. And now that it is so open and honest, and like there is a passion for anything you want, and it's totally cool. Like, I was walking, you know what? Funnily enough, I was walking back from McDonald's and I was crossing the street and I saw someone wearing a Captain America shirt, and I thought, man, that's awesome. And I looked down and I'm wearing a Spider-Man shirt, and as we crossed, they did like a nod, and it was this like open thing that is celebrated and wonderful and fun and keeps all of this kind of, like I said, inspiration alive, like the spark of, dude, if you can escape this world for even a moment and there's a community around it, and although communities can be good or bad, it is at the core making sure you all know that you're into this one thing. Like, everybody can be into this. Everyone's allowed, and you're not alone in that. And I think that's so rad, man. So rad.
Yeah,
that it's just this mainstream thing now.
Agreed. What about
yourself, Mac?
You kind of jogged one, or kind of brought one to my attention, I think, Gary, when you mentioned like that you kind of realise you liked a particular thing. I'm not going to go too much into this, 'cause I have another couple that came to mind as soon as I read Hoodie's topic. But back when I was just listening to kind of random CDs and stuff way back in the day, obviously my mum had got me a now whatever it was. This is 40 blah 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 hits of the year CD nonsense. Obviously most of it is kind of pop music and stuff like that, but I think it was either the second to last or the last track on it was actually How You Remind Me.
I was just about to say, can I guess?
And obviously, like I'm a big Nickelback fan. I stay out of the whole like when Americans figure on them, because I don't really give a fuck what most Americans think. So why should I argue? Apart from Hoodie, but I did say most. So I don't whatever. If people don't like them, they don't like them. It doesn't bother me, really, doesn't it? But it was like the first taste of like rock music for me, and I just get so hooked on it. Like I was mostly like into like kind of pop stuff, kind of growing up and whatever else, but like that, listening to that, like I very much remember like finding that song, because it was always like near the end of the CD, so it wasn't a one that was played all the time, and I remember finding it and just really enjoying it. It's like listening to it to death, having having it on like repeat, like as just playing the old GTA games. I remember playing it was the top down one of the old top down ones, and just having that on repeat over and over and over again. I'm sure my family loved it, but that was my first kind of taste, and it probably kind of paved the way for other music. I know I've experienced just about different stages with just about every genre, and I'll keep that to a separate episode, a separate podcast episode, because I'm sure we could fill an entire episode on music. But that was definitely something that kind of changed, that specific song anyway, definitely changed my tastes, and probably kind of opened the path for me towards listening to rock music in general. Oh, excuse me, sorry, it's been a long day. So I'd say that you definitely you kind of unlocked that one in my mind, to be honest. I think a general one that I put down that wasn't specific to like a specific film or book, which I have one of each. They're technically both books, although one was made into films. But I'll start with this just to kind of as food for thought more than anything else. But I would say largely that just the whole act of streaming, just like being able to stream content in general, was a big life changer. Never mind like actually like in particular to what you would watch. I was thinking about this the other day there, like the idea that you can just go into your room and put on like a choice. Now we have a choice of well over 10-20 different separate apps that you could probably like boot up and have like a totally different catalogue of content, endless content, unmanageable, unthinkable, that you could even watch it all and consume it all. But you have so many different options now that I would argue the case that it was a complete game changer in terms of how you spend your time now. I think a lot of my time, I'm quite late as I've got a lot lazier as I've got older in terms of setting time aside for different things, gaming in particular, like where you would spend hours and hours and hours just playing random games or doing different stuff. I make a lot of concessions for myself that it's just like, oh, I'll just put a quick episode of this on, or I'll just watch this thing or a part of this film or whatever else. So I don't know if I'm kind of talking sense or if it's the fact that it's midnight and I'm half falling asleep.
No.
But I feel that was something.
No, I totally. Do you know what? It's funny. Like I talk to my daughter and stuff like that, and she always has this pure like makes you try to feel old moment. And she's like, what was it like when you were wee? And I was like, try to explain to somebody who's got all this technology. Like, we didn't have tablets, we didn't have computers, we didn't have tellies that you could literally turn your internet on, like in apps and stuff like that. And I'm like, I had a solid telly that had a video player that I had to get random big massive brick videos and put it in and rewind it and fast forward it and whatever else, try to tell this, and she's looking at you like you're an alien,
Aye.
but it's that was a game changer. I was a part of Netflix right at the start. I don't know
Same.
that I'm a founder or anything like that. I'm not meaning that, but it used to be called Love Film here in the UK first,
Yep.
and they used to do that, send you the disc kind of thing, and you think to it for that kind of fetus stage all the way to now, and it's just like how lucky children, teenagers are right now. They've got catalogues and catalogues worth of stuff. I mean, for me, for example, I've got Funimation, Disney, Amazon, and Netflix. That's the four I've got, and it's like there's enough content on there that I can't even keep up with. And
Just one
what
of them?
chances anybody
Just
got?
one of them?
Aye, just with any of them. Aye, any of them. I mean, put it that way. Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and there's Andor and the new season of Mandalorian that I've still not watched because there's too much shit on and everything. And you're just kind of shopping and changing and going to whatever. It's just. I mean, I've not even seen The Last of Us yet. That's how like far behind I am and stuff. It's just absolutely ridiculous. But no, it's definitely been a life changer for better or worse. I'm not really sure, but I think it's for better. But I don't think children nowadays even understand, or they just look at Netflix. I mean, my daughter 9 times out of 10 would go upstairs and put YouTube on, like 9 times out of 10, watch a lot of shite. Watching people fucking busting balloons and doing stupid shit, and it's like you would rather do that. You'd rather do that than watch a movie or watch all this.
It's so
I mean,
strange.
she started watching anime. She was desperate to watch Demon Slayer. She's been asking to watch Demon Slayer for ages. Now she's only 8. I know people might be like, "Geez, what's a 15?" But I was like, do you know what? It's a cartoon, and I know it's got blood and stuff like that. But I was like, it's no sex. It's no got anything like that. I don't even think there's swearing in it. It's just literally because of the gore. And I was like, do you know what? Go for it. I was like, watch it. And just don't watch anything else. Just watch Demon Slayer. So she's been watching that. And she's loving it, absolutely loving it, and I'm so glad that I just let her, because I'm like, you're actually sitting watching something. You're watching something that's actually good, and watching a lot of shite that you do watch.
Aye.
So I'm glad at that. I agree. I think it is a good thing.
We get a wee taste of that every time we have Logan, our nephew. He watches a lot of stuff heavily Minecraft related, or these kind of real life Among Us videos that these content creators keep making. You've probably come across them as well, but it's like, it's not Among Us, it's like an acted out version of Among Us, where they're like, they obviously they all know who is who, and it is literally acting, bad acting, but it's acting. And then he would just sit glued to that. Or like I went in the day to their house, and he was watching YouTube and it was Minecraft, just this guy talking about Minecraft, like these different things and these different textures, and he was just watching it, just taking it in, like, and I don't even think he plays Minecraft now, like he's just watching that, like he doesn't play anything now, he just sits and watches YouTube.
The worst ones are like it's like videos of Roblox, and it's the same thing. It's like acted out scenarios, and it's like, and they use a TikTok voice and stuff like that.
Yeah. Aye.
LOL, I'm going to do this. Oh my G.
Aye.
That's shit.
Aye, it's strange, very strange. Sorry, Hoodie, I think maybe the Discord delays got us both talking, talking at the same time there. You were about to bring something in.
No, don't worry about it. Yeah, I think there's also a bit going off of what Gary's talking about of, I'm glad you're just at least watching some kind of class content where it is like, it's the thing of I've had this conversation with Jillian where there's just so much stuff, and it's never ending, and it does create this very much like paralyzing moment in your head of like, I can't choose, like this choice paralysis where you just are like, let's turn on something mindless, because I can't think of what to pick between The Last of Us and White Lotus and Succession and Barry, and like there's 100 million different quality things, but what'll happen if I choose the wrong one? Like, we get caught up in that, so we do turn to 90 Day Fiance for the or I started a rewatch of The Office, and then I just immediately started it again because I was like, like, I don't want to have to think about this. I know The Office is good, so I don't have to think about it.
It's funny. It's
And
funny. I just did, we just did that last week. We were literally like, we finished the TV season and we were like, what do we watch? And we were like, for a full day, we were like, I don't know what we're gonna watch. We're gonna watch, don't know. And then we sat in bed and we're like, right, we're going to start something, and we just couldn't pick. And Siobhan was like, do you know what? That new Adam Sandler movie's out. I know people don't like Adam Sandler now and whatever else, but let's not get into that. But that new murder mystery 2 is it, and we were like, do you know what? Let's just watch it. And do you know, I'm so glad I did, because do you know, see, watching it, I was like, I know what I'm getting. It's an hour and a half long, and I don't need to watch fucking 7 seasons of this, And it was like, I don't know the last time that I watched a movie. Like, I've been watching TV seasons for like non-stop for like the last year and a half, it feels like, and I was like, it was so nice just to watch a film that you just engage with for that time, and as soon as it's done, it's like, right, over, I'm out, I was like, it's been a breath of fresh air watching that.
Yeah, I mean, and I think those things come along, and it is really good to have that. Of currently, Mom and I watched through something on Peacock called Based on a True Story, where we were like 3 episodes in, and we're like, oh, this is so good. It's so good. And I immediately told Ben, I was like, you gotta watch this. You gotta watch this. And then he binged it in like a day. And it was that thing of, we got to the end of it, and it was like, no, nah, there's got to be more. It's so great, and I don't want to have to choose again. No. It's a little bit sad, because I do think it goes back to it's good and bad in different ways, because I think there's more. The collection of options is more diverse now, more than ever. Of, if you need to relate to something, you can find that thing. Like, it exists somewhere, and that's fucking awesome. But there's so much stuff that it probably gets lost. So there aren't those moments of, wow, when I was a kid, I watched Star Wars. Well, when I was a kid, I read Spider-Man. And although Spider-Man and Star Wars are massive IPs, and they have been for a long time, it did feel like this secret society that I was a part of. Like we were talking about, we had it to ourselves, so it never felt big. And now that everything feels big, there's nothing that I think feels personal, if that makes sense. Because it is like, although you may relate to something, everything feels like it's consumable, and we're just consuming constantly. We're not taking it in. We're just like eating it and moving on to the next thing. Like, think of The Last of Us and the high that everybody rode off of that, of, whoa, episode 3 was incredible and phenomenal and amazing, and then we've just moved on. It's over. It doesn't matter. Where I think if I was born in this era and I read Spider-Man or watched Spider-Man, it'd be like, it might be that thing of, okay, let's move on to the next Marvel thing now, because that's all it is. It's just consuming things, which does make me sad. I know this has gone way off from what the original topic was, but I actually like this conversation more. Because the other part of, I just saw Across the Spider-Verse, no spoilers, but watching that, I wonder if today's audience has the same reaction that I do. And I know I have a little bit more bias because I love art. It's been ingrained in me since I was a child. But that made me cry, not even because of the story, and although the story I love, and I love those characters, but just the sheer beauty of looking at that. It is a masterpiece of cinema and animation and artistry, and it's beautiful. And I was crying in the theater just looking at how somebody could have accomplished that. And part of me did think afterwards, do I get this emotional because I love Spider-Man so much because he was part of my secret society as a kid? And do other kids have that nowadays? Is a worry I think that they don't, because everything is just so quick and consumable that does anything have a lasting impact?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I was thinking about this the other day, and I was when I was reading about this, and I was thinking about my daughter again, and I was thinking to myself, like, she literally has everything at her fingertips, like, and
Yeah.
she will have everything at her fingertips, like, as she gets older, and it's just going to get more and more and more and more. And I'm just thinking to myself, how much of the good shit are you going to miss? Like, if somebody doesn't guide her and watch it, if she wants to watch stuff, obviously I'm not saying I'm forcing her, but like, it's, you know, when she gets to a point, she's like, oh, I want to watch the TV season, then it's going to be like I'm going to be like, oh, you need to watch Breaking Bad, or you need to watch Game of Thrones, you know. And it's like, if you don't tell her, is she just going to miss all that shit and all the good in films and all? I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, that was essential when I was younger. It was like, there was literally like lists. It was like, these are the top 50 films you need to see before you die. You know, and
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
all that's kind of went away now. You know, there's gonna be children that grow up now that have never seen like a Goodfellas, or you know, even something, no, even
Oh,
like Star Wars. You
yeah.
know, there's got to be children now that don't even watch any of that shit
Well,
anymore, and it's weird.
I also think the general consensus of maybe cynicism is a strong word, but that's the word I'm going to use, of this cynical outlook on media where everything is just kind of flippant, right? Like Star Wars doesn't have that impact anymore because there's so much Star Wars, or
Yeah,
Marvel doesn't have that same impact because there's so much Marvel. So nothing really matters. And if you have all of that and you're inundated with all of that, those original films, like the things we grew up on, do they even have weight or value anymore because everybody just sees Star Wars as a commodity? It's just a thing now. It's
yeah,
not this event. It isn't, they don't get to have that experience. And that sucks because I think the last big experience, and maybe it was for everybody, but in my head, I think the demographic hit for our generation, like most millennials probably looked at Endgame as that last massive event of, this is the culmination of something that started when I was a kid.
yeah.
And this is, the Endgame is not the culmination for most kids now, which is like crazy to think about. Like when I saw Iron Man, I was what, 14, I think. So getting to Endgame, that was a buildup, but nobody else get, like, kids didn't get to have that. So did it mean anything to them? And
Yeah.
it is it's really sad. I mean, even taking it away from media, the thought of, because everything is at our fingertips, right? How many of us remember phone numbers? Do we even memorize it anymore? Because when I was a kid, I had to
Yep.
remember my phone number, or my mom's phone number, or the neighbor's phone number. And now I just tap a button and it's there. Like I don't even know if I could remember a phone number anymore. Like,
Oh, it's
that's the
scary.
other thing of
That's
having
scary.
everything at your fingertips. Yeah, it's like you don't learn anything.
Can't wait till we start getting chips in our brains and
Oh,
um
we're a minute off. Minute
So
off.
close. We're
yeah,
so definitely so close.
AI takes over me and I could just rest in
Yeah.
fucking peace.
Terrible.
San Junipero.
I have
Sorry, I just got to say, Mr. Mac, sorry, we pure derailed your conversation there, but thanks for bringing that to the table.
no, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just to bring it back to Hoodie's original topic, I'm sure we could. That was probably the same topic. It's to itself, and I don't even think we touched the surface on it. So, you know, hopefully it does resonate though with Hoodie's original intention, and the same kind of vein of a form of media. But I do have to, like, as I was kind of growing up, that kind of impacted us, one more than the other. I'll start with the most recent one, and that reading, and they've kind of lost it's lost its meaning to me just because of the popularization of it and the film adaptation of them. But when I first read the Hunger Games books, which is probably a bit of left field to be honest, but when I first read them, and you kind of get that sense of real true, especially the first ones, that real true kind of poverty and starvation, and not know, like, one of the lines is that you know, they don't know how to be hungry, but but we do, kind of hang in terms of the two people for the kind of main district or whatever. I don't know why, but I just couldn't get enough of the books, and it just kind of set that kind of tone for like you don't really know, like a lot of people don't really know how good they've got it, or they don't really know how to live like within their means, like sometimes, or just even just that whole point of not even really knowing what it's like to be kind of truly hungry. I think it's something that I tried at the time anyway. I tried to kind of use that to fuel like a real kind of check for myself in terms of like, am I hungry, or am I just eating because I'm bored, you know, that kind of thing. I know it's not like any kind of major life changing thing, but it is definitely something that my mind goes back to quite frequently, you know.
I think that is a big part of even what the original topic was, is has something impacted you or resonated that made you think, and to stop and pause and be like, yeah, am I being am I taking more than I need is a great thought to always have in the back of your head of like, well, I'm comfortable. Is comfortable enough? Because most of the time I think it should be, but sometimes it's not, and then you get lost in that a lot of the time of, well, I'm chasing this thing. Once you have it, are you going to keep chasing something else? So yeah, like you said, keeping yourself in check of, okay, I can sit down. I don't need to keep chasing this.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they have their own different meanings and stuff, and it's not the whole series. It's just certain lines and certain situations that they were in that it just, I don't know, just kind of it sits with me. But it's definitely kind of tweaked here and there for in terms of the adaptations for them. But they were really powerful to me anyway. And there was another series, another book series I read in high school, which really kind of opened my eyes to just the obviously it's not something that we really dealt with too much growing up. Just the idea of racism in general. The book collection is called Knots and Crosses. There's, I think it might be 3, possibly 4 books. The author's Mallory Blackman, and she wrote the collection. When I first read it, it's strange, but the whole idea, the premise, is they kind of flipped like the kind of order of things. So it was like predominantly people like white people were seen as the kind of slaves, the lower class, the servants to them. Like, there was like 1 or 2 white people in the school, and they were looked as not being good enough to be in the school. And I think just that change in perspective, it just, I don't know, just kind of clicked with me in high school. And again, it's not something that we ever really had to deal with. There was people for different countries. There was a boy that joined us from France, who was a black man when he joined, and he was totally like, there was nothing about his ethnicity that we judged at all. We were young and it didn't really come into play at all, but you see it a lot more in films and TV, and you hear maybe different people either saying different things or whatever else, but it just kind of opened my eyes a wee bit when you see it, when you kind of see everything flipped, and you obviously have a wee bit more relevancy if it's something that you're like, oh well, hold on a minute, how come he doesn't get to join this party because they're supposed to be cleaning the place instead. I don't really know the best words to convey like what I had read, but it definitely just resonated with me, and it just kind of opened my eyes a wee bit to just racism as a whole, in terms of that kind of class based thing, and the kind of inequality of it all. So I would say that was my biggest answer.
Well, yeah, I think that's another thing that plays into the good and bad of having so much. Is the good, which is the collection of diverse stories that are out there that you can find that help you look up to something or look up to someone, and things like that, like you're talking about, where it informs empathy. And I think there's a large lack of empathy in today's society, and even more so online. Like, online's just a drop in the bucket compared to the rest of civilization, but it is very much prevalent and it's spreading outward. So even once you go offline, the empathy continues to lack, which is a tragedy, really, to not be able to stop and look and go, well, I wouldn't want to be treated this way. Why would I treat someone else this way? Or very much putting yourself in someone else's shoes a lot of the time does not happen anymore, which I think goes back to informing media of, I'm so happy Spider-Verse is successful. I'm so happy Across the Spider-Verse is successful, because those movies, I imagine some kid out there right now watches that, and there's a specific line in one of the films where his mom, Miles's mom, says to him, "You belong anywhere you want to be, and people aren't going to always make that known, but you have to make it known." And it's so important to have that and be able to have that resonate. And I hope kids anywhere from any walk of life watch that and go, that everybody deserves that chance to belong. So it is very important for media to hit the way it does and have those impacts, like your book, where you can change your entire perspective. Because, you know, we are all different, but there's so much of us that isn't, that is like, well, why are we the way we are? Is in the immortal words of Michael Scott. But a perfect example of somebody who could have used the book you read.
Yeah.
But it is that thing of like, it's great to have that kind of moment, that awe-inspiring moment of, oh, okay, now I'm looking at it this way, and it's important that we all see that, wherever it comes from, book, music, movie, blah blah blah. It's very important. It's great that you've had that experience from wherever you get it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's I should be clear. Obviously, it was not as if like, before I read the books, you know, racism was pouring at me. You know, like it's not like as if I've like changed.
No.
It's just the perception, and you're right. The kind of the empathy that goes with that. It's just something that clicked. Because you have a wee bit more relevance with you know, different things, and it's, you know, it's a book, a series that I would probably like to go back to, actually, and kind of read it again with a wiser head on me. But I think it's more geared towards teens and stuff like that. So there's, you know, because there is a lot of other stuff in there, and love stories in there and all that kind of stuff. It's more probably aimed for the younger mind, but it was just something that I really enjoyed as a story overall, and it's definitely something that stuck with me enough that I'm sure I recommended it to my sister at one point to read the series of books, because they were just such a good read.
Yeah. That's the other thing. If you could make something that makes you think and is good, man, what a legend.
Only a winner. So yeah, that's my multitude of points. I've kind of hijacked your topic a wee bit.
I'll tell you what, this topic started out as one thing and evolved into something great, and that's what's awesome about this podcast. I'll say that we had the fast food topic, which you're like, I don't know what we're gonna get out of this, and then we had a fun, amazing conversation, and I went in with one expectation and came out with a better for my topic. So I'm really happy with what's been happening.
It was good. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
before we move on to Gary's, if any of the two you get any more for this one, all good.
No, I'm good.
I'm good. Yeah.
Excellent, awesome.
Whip.
Whip, whip. Right, so Gary Moore, what's your topic for this week?
My topic is games that we would like to see make a comeback. So, I'm pretty sure there might be crossover in this. There might be, there might not be. We'll see how it goes. If there is crossover, feel free to jump in, put your points in, etc., etc. So, how many of you's got? Can I just ask? You've got like 2 or 3?
I've got 3.
You got 3? How many you got, Hoodie?
I also have 3.
Right, well, we'll just go one each at a time then, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Instead of just batter it half. So my first one, I thought, I need a wee game. Sean's probably thinking it's going to be Fight Night, I'm going to say here. But I left that after the list. So, but I did go another fighting game by EA. I think it's time to bring back Def Jam.
Oh, mate. Oh, love it. Love it.
Def Jam is a game that was just about street fighting and you were rappers. And I used to have a big story and stuff like that. It was actually pretty good. The last Def Jam game came out in 2007, which is just ridiculous to think how fast that's been. They were absolutely fantastic games. If nobody ever knows what a Def Jam game, you should just go and see it. They were brutal. It was like if you had Fight Night, but it was the street version. You know, like EA used to do all the street games like FIFA Street, NFL Street. That's what it was like. It was like you're just having 2 people in like a train station that were fighting, but you could pick up chairs and bottles and brutal game. It was a fantastic game as well, and you used to always have amazing soundtracks. So they used to get people like Snoop Dogg and Fat Joe and stuff like that, Ghostface Killer, but then they would get their songs as well. So you would be fighting like Snoop Dogg, but it would be a Snoop Dogg song in the background and stuff, and it was so good. It was so good. I just always used to love the games, and it's just time. EA, they're sitting on all this smashing treasure trove of games, and they just need to start pumping them back out. Def Jam's my number 1. Make a comeback.
I would love to see that. By the way, like just before I go into mine, and I'll just go straight into mine once I've done. But I loved the games. It was me and a good friend of mine growing up. We used to play they quite a lot, because I'm sure you could do like two and two as well. If you and a friend versus the computer, and to go like Sean Paul and be running, and it was like the idea. It was a street fight, but you could play in different places. So you'd be playing like in a subway, or you play in a bar, and if you hit the opponent into the other people, because it was like a ring almost that the people in the bar had formed, and if you hit the other person into it, they would grab them and punch them, or grab them and throw them back out and stuff like that. So it was pretty good, pretty brutal. But they had some pretty big names in there, and you could really get into the customization of your kind of characters and that as well, what they were wearing and whatever else. I would love to see that game. So I'm glad you brought that up, because it's as soon as you say fighting game, I'm like, he's got to say Def Jam. So I love it, absolutely love it. Right, so I was struggling. I'm going to lie, I was struggling. I thought of the games, that one of the games, possibly Gary's second game, but I thought of that game, and I thought, nah, because Gary might say it, and plus I thought I want to bring up 2 games in particular, and I might even leave the third thing as a wee closing conversation, because I think it's interesting. The third thing isn't quite a game, and it's a bit no controversial, right, but it doesn't quite fit the billing, fit the question, but I think it's an interesting one that I would like to pose to you, right? So just remind me about that if we get to the end and we're not falling asleep. I'd like to bring it back up, right? But I'm gonna kick off this with my first choice, and it's the Conflict series, Desert Storm being the first game.
Yep.
I would love to see this being brought back out as a thing. The general idea, obviously, the first game, was it's basically it's a campaign game, army game, where you could play it as a multiplayer, which I enjoyed, which generally takes it's two to four people, so 2-player co-op. Takes control of like a 4-man squad, and you go in and you kind of start taking out different bases and different towns, getting to evac points and stuff. But you'd like many kind of tasks within the mission, and each person had like a different role, so it's pretty similar to what you would maybe generally expect in a game. It's nothing out of the ordinary, but we don't I would argue we don't have games like this anymore. This is so small and contained. It was like a lot more finesse in the way it was. It wasn't like these big grand open maps. It was just so much more like restricted in the weapon choices, but it was so much better. Like you had your sniper and your rocket launcher person, and this different kind of roles that you could take out. And honestly, like I would just love to see it. I was looking them up just before I came on though, and a wee bit of sad news. So they were developed by Pivotal Games, and unfortunately they actually were shut down by their parent company. It seems back in 2008. So I'm talking about quite an old series of games, to be honest, but I believe it looks as if there is obviously a company, because they were closed by their parent company, which I think looks like it was a company SCI. So there's still a chance there, I think, if somebody else is purchased this and then closed just the studio, that they still own the property. In terms of the idea, and they could develop something in the future. But I don't think it's hard to, because obviously you get SOCOM and stuff like that, which came kind of later, or maybe around about that time, and it was a bit better developed, and Rainbow Games and all that kind of stuff. But there's just something about that scenario co-op game that I would love to play. Again, that 2-player controlling that strategy, that kind of thing. I think that would be I would 100% be trying to convince you to get that day one with me to play it.
Yeah, I think the nearest thing we've got to it is like the Tom Clancy games, but they're still not the same. Just not the same.
So yep, that's me for my first game.
Hoods, on you go.
Okay, so much like Mac, I had a difficult time doing this, not because I couldn't think of them, but because I thought, do I want this? I sat around and was like, do I even put this out into the world? Do I want my childhood to be dug up and put in front of me and said, it's not as good as you remember, kid? But ultimately I decided I will say hi to the corpse of my childhood past. And Tak and the Power of Juju is the first one that came to mind, of like, oh, I remember this being my jam. Like, there was so much of it too, where there were spin-offs and multiple games and a TV show, and as a kid I was like, there's a video game show about the video game I'm playing? That's crazy. But I loved those as like a platformer too, because my favorite platformer is Ratchet and Clank. That's my favorite PlayStation series. I love it so much that when I ran out of Ratchet and Clank games to play, I went to Blockbuster, and Mom said, pick whichever game you want. And I saw the box art of this kid with an awesome outfit holding a cool staff, and I was like, all right, let's play this. I like his name. His name's Tak. All right, let's go. And I just remember playing it non-stop. Like, I loved that game, and I loved that world, and I can never remember the voice actor's name, and I feel horrible about it. But his voice is just iconic to me, and he's played so many characters from my childhood that I love, and I remember just hearing him and being like, oh, it's that guy. So it made me fall in love with that character even more. And I don't know if it was his brother. Most of this is like just faint memories coming to me of what this story was, but it was like Tack and his brother, and they were just in this world that was what I imagine people like about Avatar, not Last Airbender, the blue people one, or blue cat people one. Like, whatever people love about that is what I love about Tack and that world. And I just think, man, if you could just do that whole thing again, and listen, voice actor's still around, all right? You just get them back. Just get the whole gang back together.
Is it Hal Sparks?
I think so. Is he also the voice of Invader Zim? Does it show that? Because in my head, that's who.
I'll keep looking, but he definitely seems like he's, because I had to look this up. I'm not gonna lie, this is a purely American thing.
Okay, yeah.
So I had no idea what it was. So I thought I'm just gonna look it up, so I have some visual aids to what you were talking about, and it does look pretty cool. And when I click on the IMDb for the TV series, it says that it was your man that was in it. How? So anyway,
I love his voice so much too. It is just like this instant. Oh, his voice is like made to relate to kids for some. I can't pinpoint it, but he sounds like a kid, but like a version of a kid in my head as like when I was growing up that I heard. Like the voice in my head, that's it. It's him. And so I just love that. I love that world. And like whether or not any of it holds up, no clue. I haven't gone back at all to that game since I played it, 20 years ago. But I loved everything. And I would just, if they could give it the Crash treatment where they just get a team who either worked on it back then or grew up with it like I did and just let them go ham, man, I don't know what it did as far as numbers, but they had so many games it must have been successful. Like, bring it back, bring back Tack and the Bower of Juju, bring it back.
It definitely seemed like that somebody was trying to convince, just when I was looking it up there was an article, or I think it might even have just been on with some fandom. So it says here that as of 2021, there's a certain reviewer has been trying to inspire THQ Nordic to remake Tack, so they must have
do it. I don't know what's happening over there with TH Nordic or Embracer Group. I think something hit them recently that wasn't good, which is like, that sucks. But like, if they wanted to license out the IP, hear me out, The team who did Crash did a great job on that. Just give it to the Crash team. They're so good. I liked the fourth one that they made, and I loved the remake that they made. So
that sounds funny.
Also, listen, where's Rahul? He'll back me up on this. Maybe not on Tack, but he'll back me up on the fact that team's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I really loved it. The platforming was great. The characters were all funny and quirky. Like the environments were fun and silly. I remember the story being like engaging. Like I was invested. I watched the show. I don't even remember if the show was good, but I was invested in that world so much that it feels like now's the chance. Bring it back. We need Tack now more than ever. Games are failing. Just
so while
0 out of 10 left and right.
I was just sitting looking to see who actually owns it now. Yeah. So it's a company called Viacom, who are actually a subsidiary of Paramount. I don't know what your chances are there.
Oh, you know what? We don't even need to bring back the game. Don't worry about it, guys. Make a TV show. Bring back the show.
Well, Paramount owns DreamWorks as well, so you get a good DreamWorks.
Yeah,
dude. Puss in Boots 2 version of Tech and the Power of Juju, dude. Are you kidding me? Yeah, man, that was my first one. So
I'm so happy that I did this because I thought to myself, Hoodie's going to bring some Hoodie ass games, and
oh man,
you've done it.
Smashed it. He
oh,
smashed
my
it.
number one. When we get to it, that's the most hoodie ass hoodie game you can think of.
So for my number two, I went
Mario.
I went for a. I think we've got enough of them. I went for a more recent game, and Mad Max
Oh,
by
nice.
Avalanche. Came out in 2015, and do you know what? I loved that game. I just really, really, really enjoyed it. I don't know. I don't know if it got good critical success or whatever. I don't think it really did. I think it was kind of sevens and eights, and it probably deserved it. But just time and place. I always say with that game, it was time and place. I just had nothing else going. There was no other games I was interested in, and I played this, and this just hit the mark for me. You know, it was coming off that Batman Arkham series, you know, and they totally like stole the fighting for that and put it in the Mad Max world, which I'm quite attracted to. The Mad Max, that apocalypse, everything's kind of dire and resources are very thin, and I just really like that. But everybody's got supercars, which is just a total strange thing, but I just love that aesthetic. It's so cool, so great. And this game just fit the bill at this exact point. And I always felt like the first game was like, this is a fantastic first try. And I was always like, oh yes, we'll get a second one anyway. And they just never made it. They never made it. We're nearly 10 years. Well, we're 8 years. We're 8 years, and it's just like it's not a Mad Max game. So when the Summer Game Fest came and Hoodie sent a wee picture or a video over a Sandland, I was like, this looks like the Mad Max game mixed with anime that I maybe wanted or needed even. This might fill that void of Mad Max. So
right.
I'm kinda looking forward to that. So hopefully it gets good reviews and whatever else and comes out good. But yeah, I'm so shocked that Avalanche never made another version of this game. I don't know what happened. Don't know if it was just contracts or they just didn't get the rights to do it again. I'm not really sure, but it's such a shame that we never got a second version of this game. Such a shame.
Yeah, it is, because it was a fun game, and I remember just thinking, oh, this is the thing that's filling the void of Borderlands without Borderlands. In like the context of a like wasteland. So when there wasn't anything about it, that was strange, because in my head I thought it was successful. Like, I thought people did like it. I remember people talking about it, at least. I wonder, when Furiosa drops with the Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth prequel movie to Fury Road, do we get something back from that?
Yeah, hopefully, but we'll see in time. So I'm just looking this up here, just on the fly here. I was just trying to see. So on IMDb, it got a 7.9. So that's not bad. That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
That's not bad.
Is Metacritic good?
I don't know. Hold on. I'm looking at OpenCritic right this second, and I've got a 69 on that.
That's not bad.
So it's alright.
It's
It's
good.
no
Yeah.
bad. I can understand why it didn't get as high as reviews, because it isn't. There was some janky stuff about it. I always thought the weirdest thing about like the cars was there wasn't a handbrake. And I'm like, that was such a weird thing that you just braked. There was no handbrake, especially when you had like sand and stuff like that. And it's like, this is like perfect for like doing big skids and stuff like that and whatever else in the sand. But you know what? I think it was a great game, and I would love to see make a comeback. You liked it as well, Mr. Mac, didn't you?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It came the same time as Metal Gear, so maybe didn't get as 5, I should say. Sorry, so maybe just didn't get its fair shake. It was a large unfortunately a large kind of empty game for the most part, but it was so good. If you go on my YouTube channel, there's some clips of some of the fun things that I got into for that game. Like one of the times I had, I was in this big encampment and I kind of rolled out of the way of them and I threw something into those explosive barrels and I ended up kind of half on fire and had to roll out of the way. By the time I padded myself down and turned the camera around, I was getting attacked by so many people, and when I spun the camera around there was nobody left. I was the only person that survived. So it's a pretty cool clip that I managed to get, and another one was almost Simpsons-esque, where I got out the car and then the car just started rolling down the fucking hill away from me. It was just at such an angle that the car just kind of moved away. Probably one of the only games where, because even Days Gone I get fucking really fed up here, but one of the only games that I was fine with the fuel mechanic. That you had to keep refueling your car, because you could put a spare jug in the car, so anytime you were just driving and you didn't have a spare jug and you seen one, you would get out and just put it in. It was just one of those kind of RPG elements that you could kind of get in there. I don't think I was overly enthralled by the ending, as for what I can remember. Obviously, I don't want to spoil it, because I do recommend that people check it out if they can play it, because it was really good. The car, as much as Gary said about the handbrakes, the kind of things that you had to do where you'd either race or destroy convoys, like it was just convoys, whatever, but you had a car bump mechanic where you would just slide into the other cars, and it was so you could then customize the car and start kind of wrecking shop, and that was one of the really, really good points of the game. I think I almost was going to go for the platinum on that, but there's a collectible issue, and there was a bug at the time, and I knew that I couldn't do it. So if there's anything to glean from my points, it would be that it was almost platinum worthy if it wasn't for maybe one or two small trophies. So that's how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was great game.
Great.
Hello, Mr. Mac. Your next one.
And my next one, I was hoping that you were going to set me up a wee bit better than that by mentioning the number. That number being number 2.
Number 2. Mr. Mac.
I'm not editing that. So number 2 for me is Army of Two. Me and Gary, another co-op.
I love those games.
Another co-op game for back in the day. I think me and Gary played possibly the second and third one. I got another friend of mine I played the first game with, and Army of Two games were absolutely just world class to me. I'm so surprised by the scores, as I kind of pulled it up to have on the screen just so that I could had the release dates and stuff in the studio. So it was EA Montreal, and the first game was 2008, then it was 2010, 2013 was the last one. Unfortunately, the Metacritic scores were pretty average to start with, and until the last game, which got a kind of 58, which is not what you want at all. But again, I'd have to look at some of the reviews to see what the reason for that was. But I don't remember there being a major issue. It just goes to show that everybody's opinion should weigh on your decision to play a game or not, because I don't remember being there any big issues with that game or any of the games for the Army of Two games. So I really enjoyed it. I think the last one was probably the toughest with some of the mechanics, but that base idea of there being a duo and you basically just you were just making your way through these levels, sometimes one of them taking more aggro than the other one so that they could go up and do like a stealth move or whatever, and that was just the basic premise of it. Is you were two years, the enemy generally knew where you were at all times, which is just the sign of that time, to be honest with you, until like one person would stop shooting. The guns were just ridiculously customizable and shiny.
Yeah.
It would be my one word that I would use, because you could really like deck them out when you started making more money. I think they could really do something really, really good with that kind of game. They had like a campaign, and if they maybe did like some challenges and stuff that you could earn more contract points and things like that, and have a wee bit more customizability about it, then I'm sure you could make a good title. Unfortunately, everything seems to be that it needs to be multiplayer these days, which is such a shame, because there's definitely space for these kind of games. It's hard though, because in saying that, like, it's hard to think, well, would me and Gary buy a game, both buy a game to play it? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not talking about like buying it on the cheap. Like, we would buy it at the point of release to support it in such a way that you would keep getting them. And I don't really know if that answer would be yeah, because we don't play enough games, and we don't live close enough to do the split screen, which was such a pivotal point of this game. Back in the day, I would go to Gary's on the Saturday morning and would be playing it the full Saturday and then Sunday morning until parents came and got us. So it's just one of the things. Maybe it's just a sign of the times and a wee bit of nostalgia from me bringing this one to the table.
Yeah, it's a great memory. As you said, it's hard to think where it would even fit in nowadays. I think we've had this discussion before about Army of Two.
Probably.
It's hard to have that where it would even fit nowadays. What does an Army of Two look like in the modern landscape? Does it need to have a battle pass? Does it need to have does it look like Destiny? Like, the kind of more, you need to have like these big runs. I don't know what they call them. Can't remember what the name they call these things. Like, almost like the dungeon kind of things. It's kind of like, where does it even fit? As I said, I think the closest thing is Tom Clancy games, but they just don't scratch that itch, and they don't feel the same.
Yeah.
I think it's obviously the open world and stuff like that. I don't think it lends itself too well to that.
Aye, I'd probably say Division, thinking about it, is the closest to this, because it's the same kind of weapon type and time kind of thing, but it's just this was a wee bit more focused. And then I think, thinking about the third one, there was a lot of kind of set pieces and stuff which I don't think you could really convert to a Division kind of set up.
What we need is an Army of 3, so the 3 years can play it.
Sold. Yeah. On game.
You know what? I loved those games, and I thought the aesthetic of them were so cool.
Yeah.
Especially collecting all the masks and stuff was awesome.
Yeah.
But the one that came up around the same time, that this isn't on one of my picks, but would be fun to also see make a comeback, is like Kane and Lynch. Do you remember those games?
Oh yeah, we played those too. Yeah.
Played them together.
Yeah, those were in the similar vein of like, oh man, I wish those games would come back, like dedicated 2-player like linear games.
Yeah, I'm with you. 100%.
3-player.
Of course. 3-player. 3-player.
Yeah.
Like It Takes 3 that you're going to make.
Yeah, It Takes 3.
Yeah, It Takes 3. I mean, that's a great example, actually, because Jillian and I had a blast playing that, right? Way too long, but it was still like a great time that I haven't had one of those in quite a while, where it's like, oh yeah, this is a dedicated 2-player, you're both having fun solving things kind of thing. Yeah, man.
Yeah. I quite enjoyed the prison one when you did it, Sean.
100%. That was good.
I can't remember what it was called.
Are we out?
I don't know. Are we out? I quite enjoyed that as well. The ending's terrible, but the game itself is actually pretty decent. But I agree. Army of 3 needs to be made.
Yeah, great shout.
So, Hoodie, for your number 2.
Number 2, okay. So this was a toss-up. I thought about Ty, which I don't remember the subtitle of it, but he was like a Ty. Oh, I think it's Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, I think was what it was called. Anyways, it was this tiger in Australia, and he had a boomerang, and he threw it. It was another platformer similar in vein to Tak, but I was like, it's a little too similar. So I went a little bit further away to something that actually had a remaster recently of they just like dropped them on PS4. You can get them on PS5 if you want, but these were games that they had at our local library, and I played them as a kid, a part of the summer reading event, because they counted towards it because they were like, educational in quotes. But there was like Putt Putt and I'm blanking on the other two. There's one with a goldfish and then a fox in a tuxedo. But the one that I'm talking about is Pajama Sam. And if you don't know what Pajama Sam is, it's one of the greatest point-and-click adventures I have ever played. I love Broken Age. Amazing. This was a masterpiece in my head. This was like Broken Age, or you get out of here. Pajama Sam's here to save the day. And it's like this kid who's afraid of the dark, so he dresses up like a superhero. He's in his pajamas, but he puts on a cape, and you have a flashlight, and you have to solve all the things that you're afraid of as a kid. And you just like go around different rooms trying to prove that there's nothing scary in there. And it was so much fun. And I remember how much I loved it, and I'm probably gonna buy the remaster collection that just dropped and play through those again. But I feel like point and click adventures have kind of died off unless you're on PC.
Yeah.
And I would love for that to make a comeback, because it was very much a great puzzle game that made me think, at least. And I don't know if it would still work for like people above 10. I don't know, but it was very much like I had fun solving these things, and the characters were great, and the sound design was really good, which is not generally something I bring up, but the sound design in that was really fun. They had like if you clicked on a tree, it would make the whoosh of wind going through it, and then like the crackling of the branches, and it was like, oh yeah, I am afraid of that as a kid. I was afraid of the tree scratching at my window in the dark. So it related to me on that level a lot of the time, and I think it would be a great series to bring back and like beef up the art style a little bit with like I mean, I think Broken Age is such a beautiful point and click that I would love to see Double Fine make it, but I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
Broken
where
Age
that
was
IP would go.
amazing. It was an amazing game back in the day.
Oh, smart. So smart too.
I used to have like the mouse and stuff like that. I think it was a PlayStation 1, or PlayStation, I can't remember if it was PlayStation 1 or 2. But I used to have the mouse and stuff like that you actually had for the PlayStation. It was so good. So good. Another game,
I played that on my Vita.
Another game that's on that vein was Monkey Island.
Yeah.
Fantastic games as well.
Mm-hmm. Did you play the new one?
No, I've not played the new one. I know I seen there was a new one. I never got it though, but I will get it probably at one point, because I really did enjoy the games. They were really good back in the day when I used to PC game when I was younger. Used to have the Return to Monkey Island and stuff like that. I love that. I love the tongue-in-cheek kind of humour and the stupidity, like slapstick of the Monkey Island games. It was always funny, even when you did wrong stuff. Like it used to always do that thing where point and click, if nobody's ever played, you used to just go and collect stuff all around the world, like the levels, and then it would be like, what can I make out of this to give to this person to get another thing? So then you would be like, you'd be trying to give him like a jellyfish and all that, and the guy would be like, why do I want that? It's so slimy and all that, and just pure stupid stuff. But it's just, I don't know. I just like the games. They've got a time and place. Then I said a wee bit maybe like Army of Two. I don't know if I would actually enjoy playing them now, but at the time I used to love the point and click adventures. I used to love them. Detective ones.
Yeah, like playing Broken Age on my Vita like 5 years ago at this point, but it was like, oh man, this is such a lost genre that maybe it's not completely lost, like it's out there, but it's not mainstream anymore in the way it was when I was growing up, where I did have games like Putt Putt, I did have games like Pajama Sam and all the Double Fine stuff. And so I would love for that genre in general to make a comeback. But specifically, if you're going to do it, like reboot Pajama Sam. I mean, it was so much fun exploring that world as a kid, that it would be fun for them to, like I said, rebuff the animation, but also bring in a more adult sense of humor as well. Like, yeah, we're scared of this as a kid. What are we afraid of as an adult that would be funny to us to look at as a kid, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I was scared of a tree. Well, what, like, what could they do to make that humorous in the way of that would relate to everybody nowadays? Because I think that would also be a fun challenge for them to do. So, but yeah, Pajamas Man.
Be good. That's a good one. So my final and number 3 is the Getaway series.
Getaway.
The Getaway. Yeah. You never heard
Never
that?
heard of this one. No.
It's a UK one, 'cause
man.
it's London based, isn't it?
These youngsters nowadays. The Getaway was like a British version of GTA. They made it, and it wasn't as good as GTA. It never was. But I felt like it was always the attempts, that we needed. I always like it when games, I think it's a good thing. See if somebody makes like 2K makes a golf game and EA make a golf game. I think that's good because I think you always need somebody driving you on. So that I always liked Getaway for that. It was always like, we're on your heels. Getaway used to use, they got all the real cars and stuff like that. So all the cars were like the real, it was Ford cars, Ford Focuses. They were in the game. It was very much like a Guy Ritchie movie. It was all like landing gangsters, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Lock, stock, two smoking barrels.
But it was more realistic. The actual like looks was more realistic than like Grand Theft Auto. It wasn't like cartoony, which obviously Grand Theft Auto isn't now, but it used to be. And it was like, if you got shot 3 times, you would die. Like, it wasn't like you got shot, then your health would be back up. Like you when you got shot, it used to like be like bleeding out and stuff like that, and you would like need to rest, like hold on to a wall, and that would like revive him a wee bit and stuff like that. It was a really good time and place game, and I just feel like I could imagine PlayStation. I believe it's PlayStation that own it. Is the Getaway series? I could be wrong. I can't be bothered looking, but I believe it is Sony that own that series, and I feel like what Sony have got right now, they could make an excellent sort of GTA clone, if you like. And also just to have a I mean, how many Grand Theft Autos we've played in America now. It's like I like to see stuff in different places. See like 2 games that I think Sony should have did that way as Last of Us. I think Last of Us 2 should have been a totally separate thing. I think we should have just left Joel and Ellie and just let them go on their way, and you could just make it up. And I think they should have just went somewhere else, doesn't matter, France, anywhere, Germany. You could just pick a random place and be like, right, this is Last of Us in here. I also think Horizon should have done the same. I think a Horizon London would have been fantastic, just to have that different cultures, different actors that just involved in that. And I don't know, I always like it when it all moves about like that and just shows you the same scenario but in different places. I really enjoy that when
like Watch Dogs Legion.
Yes, exactly. Although I don't really like Watch Dogs, but apart from that, yes, I really like that. So that's why I like Assassin's Creed games. And there's some Assassin's Creed games I don't like there was the Greece one I thought I would love, and I played it and I was like, I don't really like this, but I love the Viking one.
Yeah.
Some things just don't stick with me, and that's just the way it is. But that I just really like that. So I think Getaway could be that he's a London gangster or British gangster scenario that we don't generally see in games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds really fun because I do think there is a lack of that, and I always generally respect the way that Ubisoft handles those kinds of things, because I think they globetrot a lot and nothing ever feels the same, which is really nice.
Yep.
It is like you said, if you're not feeling this one, there's probably another one that's coming. Like, I think Mirage looks awesome, so eventually I'll probably play Mirage, but the one after that, I'm like, oh man, I really want to go to Japan. Like, I'm so excited for that. That's the one that I'm like, full in on. So even if I
Yeah.
wasn't going to pick up Mirage, I know there's another Assassin's Creed coming that I'm excited for. So like having a GTA do that would be really fucking awesome. So Getaway
Yeah.
would be it.
I really wonder with Sucker Punch bringing out what do you call it? Ghosts. I wonder if it's totally scared Ubisoft away from Japan now. I
They've already
wonder.
announced it.
Oh, have they? Oh well, there you go.
Yeah.
That'll be coming then.
It's 2025, I believe.
Oh well, smashing. We're going to have possibly two ninja games very close to each other.
Yeah.
So that'll be a
One better
battle
get
of
out
the
of the way.
ninjas. What about you, Mac? Did you had a wee experience with Getaway or anything like that being for the UK?
Playing them this, I think maybe second or third time round, and it clicked with me better. I didn't really enjoy them the first time round just purely because you just comparing them directly to GTA, and they were much more difficult.
Much more. Yep,
Try to drive with your car, and it didn't show you where to go. It was the indicators that showed you where to go. If it was the car was indicating left, you had to turn left, and if they started flashing, that meant you were at your destination. So, a wee bit younger, not having brothers and sisters and stuff, or older brothers or whatever, just didn't really click with me. That kind of game. But picking it back up again later, I'm sure. I did really enjoy the Getaway. I wouldn't mind playing another one.
I think nowadays that they could really make a really great version of it. And that's what I'd be looking forward to if they made a wee comeback for Getaway. I think it's an IP sitting there that could be used,
Aye.
Good shout.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Mac, what is your third and final?
Aye, so we'd put kind of 2 or 3. I don't really expected to read 2, so the third was a kind of bonusy kind of one. It's not really one that counts, I wouldn't say, because it's definitely not a series that has left by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a bit of a twist on the question a wee bit, very close to your Getaway conversation. You've mentioned obviously a good few times, and they do come up in tandem, the two of them, but I would like to see, and it's never going to happen, but I'd like to see a more frequent single player release of some Grand Theft Auto games. Looking at the release, just to run through them, first GTA came out in 97, and then we got 2 in 99, Grand Theft Auto 3 in 2001, Vice City 2002, San Andreas 2004. So even just stopping there, 2001, the next year 2002, and then 2004, you'd never dream of 3 Grand Theft Auto games coming out so close to each other now. 4 followed kind of 4 years later, and then 5 came out 5 years later after that. And obviously we've not seen anything, and I'm not counting any of the extra kind of ones, like Lost and the Damned and that kind of thing, which was 2009, but or the handheld versions. So just sticking to just the main kind of series titles, like the fact that there was so many different stories and settings and things. Like I think like obviously Vice City had that kind of side. Like imagine the Grand Theft Auto and the kind of mafia-esque landscape, like how good a kind of game that would be, just off the top of my head, in terms of how you could kind of bring that into play. And obviously you did have like a kind of GTA London type thing, so there's always different things that you could bring in on for that. But I know that they're not going to, because they make so much money with their online kind of stuff and what that's evolved into. But I just look back on these games, especially Vice City. I wish that there was a nicer, cleaner version of Vice City that, in terms of like a remake. I don't want to get into the whole remake thing,
Yeah.
and what that kind of came out as. But I would
I would stay
love
away.
to play. Oh, 100%. Again, we don't need to get into the thick of that, because I'm sure we've probably touched on that when you kind of tried before. But Vice City was just such a pivotal game for me playing back in the day. GTA 3 was the main reason why I was begging my parents for a PS2. Back in the day, the person across the road from me had one, and that was the one game that I was like, I want a PlayStation 2, and I want that game, like that. That is what I want. Like, so it's just one of the things. Like back then, I mean, I played GTA 2 to death as well, and just played the first island over and over and over again, as well. So I think I'm more frequent. So again, it's definitely a twist on the question, but I just think it's something that.
Fine. I think that I even just cements my getaway even more, because that just goes to show you how infrequent that we are getting Grand Theft Autos now. So it just shows you that there is definitely still a space there for somebody else to come in. Like, even if it's like the Mafia, like the people that make the Mafia games, Hangar 13, I think it is, or something like that.
Mm.
I mean, but when was the last time? Mafia 3 was the last time we got that Mafia game for them as well. You know, I think they've had a few troubles and stuff like that.
Aye, 100%. But GTA is a class above though. Like, and I'm not saying that it has to be like GTA 5 level. Like, I'm happy with a smaller, like, island, smaller thing. The way that Vice City was a perfect level. Like San Andreas, it's not too big because it's been dwarfed by like GTA 5's map now. When you look at San Andreas' map, when you look back on it, but Vice City was just perfect. It was such a small contained area when you really start looking into it, but there was just so much that was like captured at that point, like all the different wee things. And
it's so funny. That was one of the funny things playing it. I mean, I only played like the first 5 missions or something like that, and I was like, no, this is better left in nostalgia. But it was so funny how small the map actually is. Like, going back and looking at it, like, it literally, like, I was like halfway up. I think it's the middle map, the middle island you start on, and I was halfway up it, and I literally got in a car and I like drove up this one street, and I was at the end of it already, and I was like, that took me like 12 seconds, 15 at most. I was like, I was up at the top. I was like, Grand Theft Auto, it's like 15 minutes just to go out your driveway. You know,
I don't think you
could. Top 5.
I don't think you could get away with it now, but it's just something that you long for. Like, I do long for a bit like more single. And I love single player. I couldn't play 5 again, even if I went and bought the upgrade like you were talking about earlier. Like, I've done GTA 5 when it first came out, for PS3 or whatever. I done it again when PS4 versions came out, and they did the first person. So I played the full thing in first person mode, and I don't want to do it again. I don't remember it all, so I could do it again, but I don't really want to do it again. So it's just one of the things that there's so much that they could do. And obviously that I know GTA 6 is coming, so it's not like I'm longing for the impossible. Again, this isn't like a series I want to come back. It's just a more frequent thing. Like, even if it's some sort of single player DLC with GTA 6, if they want to just keep that ball rolling. Like, I know people come in and go, oh, they're not going to do it because it's money spent that they kind of recoup on and blah blah blah. But I would pay for DLC packs. So what would be the I'm sure other people would as well. So why would you know? Like, why would you not just have like, alright, you're focusing on maintaining the online servers, that's them up and keep them running for a couple of, whatever it is, a couple of months or a year until we start releasing new DLC or new extra packs for the online, and then just kind of keep that moving. Then you've got your kind of other team that work on the solo kind of stuff, and you maybe day one, after a year, day one, and then day another one, and that's it. You know what I mean? Just then focus on the next game. I don't know, just have something that's going to keep people kind of going. I don't think there's as big a drive for the single player is what I'm maybe selling here.
No, I don't think
I
it is,
like
because I mean, like the full reason they were talking about like the Red Dead, like I never understand when they've literally made half the map for Red Dead, and like Red Dead 2, they've made half the map for Red Dead 1, and it's like you can't just like remake the first game. Like half the map's literally made. You've made it already. Like
Yeah.
how hard is the rest of it gonna be? You've did like half the work probably, and they just none they doing it. They're just not interested in doing it. It's just it's crazy. To be a fly in the wall in Rockstar Studios just to see what they actually think. They obviously just they make so much money off the GT Online that they're obviously no interested in even like diluting their products anymore. That they're just like we'll just do what we want to do, and that's the end of it, and just everybody needs to like it, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
But it's just, as I know, it's very frustrating as a player.
Yep, 100%. So it's no quite content coming back, but I thought that was my kind of bonus answer. So I thought I'd just bring that one up.
Yeah, it's a good one. So Hoodie, your third and final.
All right. So I have one honorable mention, which is Fancy Pants Adventures. It was a Flash game that I played as a kid, and then they actually did put it on PlayStation. I believe other consoles, but I played it on PlayStation. And it was awesome, and I don't know if the developers are still around, but, make another one. Make another one. That's all I'm asking. But the one I'm picking, and this is the one I've been shouting on social medias for years at this, forever. I've even done it where I've tweeted at Ubisoft to be like, "Hey, please make another one," and they've responded. And if I could bring up that response, I would, but I can't. But it was something along the lines of like, "Tune into our," like an automated response. It was great. All I'm saying is bring back Donald Duck Going Quackers. All right? I've mentioned this game forever. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's amazing. It's smart. It's one of the best Disney games ever made. I'm just saying, if you love Crash Bandicoot, Rahul, if you love Crash Bandicoot, and you miss that style of platformer, where it is 2D / 3D perspective / changing camera angles, whatever you want to say, Donald Duck was that. Donald Duck Going Quackers was so great. It was on GameCube, and I played it on PlayStation 2 or 1, I believe. And it was published by Ubisoft. I assume it was developed by Ubisoft as well, but it was Disney Interactive. Some of the best platforming and challenging levels, I remember that being the moment as a kid where I realized, are video games hard? Like, whoa, this is actually challenging me. It's not just some kind of like cash grab Disney game. They put heart and feel into this. So the idea is the story takes place with Elvira, and there are other, Duckburg characters that show up, but you're trying to stop Elvira from taking over Duckburg. And characters from DuckTales show up, characters from I'm blanking on the name, but the one with Huey, Dewey, and Louie where they're a little bit older, Quackpack, I think is what it's called. Anyways, all different kinds of characters show up, and it's fun, and like Donald is the main star, and if you don't know me, I kind of like ducks. So what more could I ask for in a game? A game centered around a duck, and a duck that I love? Give me it. Just give me Donald Duck Going Quackers Remaster if you want to. Give me a sequel. Give me a new game. Take the old one, reinvent it. I don't know what you call that one. A remake? I'll make a remake of it. Do something with this IP. Listen, John Drake, all right? I don't know if you know who I am, but I like your tweets, and you're really cool, and your wife is awesome. Andrea Renee is so cool, and like, all I'm asking, John Drake, is that you just make this for me. I'm begging you. Listen, everybody got their Star Wars and Marvel games. We love Disney Speedstorm. It's awesome. Jillian loves Dreamlight Valley. Where's my Donald Duck going quackers? Where is it? Okay?
So
Where?
everybody that listens have got to tweet at John Drake, Hoodie's
Please!
name. Hoodie's going to make a picture of Gone Quackers, and everybody's just to repost it to him and just say, we demand it back. There we
I'm
go.
begging you.
Hoodie's got some homework to do now.
I'm begging you. Give me it.
So that was our topic. Well, my topic, sorry, of games we would like to see make a comeback. I hope some of the games were be nostalgia ticklers. 'Cause we always kind of tend to veer on the nostalgia with this podcast. So yeah, I think this was a absolute cracking episode again. Went long, quite long. Obviously, due to technical difficulties, we started a wee bit later than usual, but that's news. Don't need to worry about that. But yeah, it's been an absolute great talking, guys. What do you think?
Yeah, I had a blast.
Yeah, absolutely. Good collection. Good bit of diversity there as well. So I'm sure people listening would get a good buzz. Something for everybody is definitely our tagline, and we've shown our strength there with those three topics.
Definitely.
Indeed.
All right then. Well, basically we're going to hopefully we'll wrap up, and hopefully we should be back to a wee bit more frequency. I say that, and then we'll probably end up making all sorts of plans and over the summer months, and things might slow down a little bit as we get closer to maybe other holidays or whatever else. So we'll have to see what happens, but we'll try and keep up and maybe some guests on soon. Maybe do a wee Rahul quiz. Maybe give him a wee shout and see what's the score with that. But until then, check out the back catalogue, and thanks very much for listening. Take care.
Listen, don't call it a comeback because we never left. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thanks again for listening to another episode of the Vault Dwellers Podcast. You can keep up with Gary Moore at Gary Moore's Art over on Instagram. Keep up with myself, Twitter, on Twitch at MrMac92, and you can't keep up with Hoodie at The Penny Marvels over on Instagram. A very special shout out to Al the Predator Tribesman for creating the intro and outro music. Thanks again for listening. Take care. Bye.